Now.
It's 7 a.m.
It's 7 a.m. Time for the opening drive.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico.
For 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck.
Been here, done that, but it does not feel the same. Unbelievable finish last night in Phoenix. 0.7 of a second left. Jay Crowder with one of the best passes you are ever going to see in a late game situation. The inbounder actually connecting on the go-ahead alley-oop. Good night now as Phoenix defeats the Clippers 104-103 in what turned out to be a wild final 90 seconds. Now, yes, the final 90 seconds of the game took 33 minutes in real time, but there's so much to break down in that moment. From Paul George looking like he's going to continue to push aside the bad playoff P narrative to missing clutch free throws. For Devin Booker, busted nose and all. Flashbacks to Steve Nash, bringing the mid-range game back. Clutch shots back and forth. And when DeAndre Ayton, the number one overall draft pick that's been looking over his shoulder at Luka Doncic and Trae Young, just the way they've been performing as he emerges onto the scene this postseason with a huge dunk. And for the third straight series, Clippers are down 0-2, but boy, oh boy, does this one feel different. What it do, everyone? Welcome into the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal. Big day today, a debut day today in the opening drive, and that is my co-host this morning, Isabel Gonzalez. Isabel, you can hear her and or read her in plenty of places. Former UNM colleagues from the shuttle bus conversations we had riding from campus to the parking lot, now to the airwaves. Isabel, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to be here. So excited to hang out, especially have you here. You do great work covering basketball, whether we're talking Lobos, the NBA, and so much more. I just got to get your initial thoughts. You're watching the final minute of that game last night. What were you thinking, and especially with the way it ended?
I mean, I don't even know what I was thinking. I think I was just as shocked as everyone else. You know, I was like, this review is taking forever. That winning shot, that winning dunk was... Did anyone really expect that other than them when they were drawing it up? It was really fun. Honestly, I'm loving the playoffs so much. They've just been crazy. We don't have like the usual teams, the usual stars there, but all of these teams are delivering, and that game was amazing.
Yeah, and what we're seeing is a new wave, and that's been one of the big topics of conversation in the NBA this postseason, and living up to the hype. And no Kawhi Leonard, no Chris Paul, and still games 1 and 2 in the Western Conference Finals have been outrageous. And you look last night in the final 60 seconds to see a clutch shot from Devin Booker, busted nose and all, to see Paul George step up and hit the big-time jumper, only to then miss the 2 free throws. And you immediately saw on social media it was the ball don't lie moment. And it's a big part of the final 90 to 60 seconds of that game was not just the amazing plays that were made, but the reviews and what it did, giving the extra timeouts, giving teams a chance to prepare, because there was another review leading up to Jay Crowder's inbound play to DeAndre Ayton, and then just the back and forth feeling of we're seeing such amazing basketball, but then the delays needed, and it's the give and take. You want to get the calls right, but you also don't necessarily want 90 seconds of a game taking a half hour to play, and then teams potentially getting added timeouts. But when it's all said and done, you still have to make the plays. And a big moment in that final 60 seconds is Paul George stepping up to the free throw line, a chance to make 2 free throws, make it a 3-point game. He misses both shots. And last night, immediately after the game, we're like, here we go again, Paul. I am sorry. Do not get on social media. But he is a player that has stepped up without Kawhi Leonard and helped lead the way for the Clippers. People didn't think he could do it. And at the end of the game, I felt like that meme from the Avengers, and like, what did it cost you? And Thanos is like, everything. Because I've been a Paul George defender, but there's nothing else to say. Clutch time, you missed 2 free throws. It's a wild ending to the game, but those 2 free throws meant that play would not have happened.
And you know what? I actually looked up his free throw percentage right after, because he's not really a bad free throw shooter. He was shooting at 87% throughout the regular season. So for him to miss those, not exactly how he usually shoots those free throws. He doesn't usually miss them that much. But yeah, like you said, there's always been a narrative of like, is Paul George a good player or is he just gonna choke? And unfortunately for him, like right now, that's what everyone's gonna be talking about for a while. The rest of his performance during that game, a lot of people are not gonna really look at that. They're just gonna be looking at those 2 free throws. And I mean, they were important. They could have gone to overtime. They could have won the game. And that is probably going to affect him. He's going to have to shake that off if he wants to perform better for the next game. And yeah, I think he's a good player. But there's definitely times where he's not that consistent. And that's why, Kawhi Leonard is a little bit more consistent. And now it's all in Paul George. And he's just going to have to do better.
Yeah, and that's the difference between good and great at that level, exactly. Is that consistency and being able to hit those free throws in the clutch moment. Paul George last night, just 5 of 10 from the free throw line, but everyone's going to be focused on those final 2 free throws down the stretch. But also, let's talk about the coaching in this game. Monty Williams has been unbelievable this season. He was checking all the boxes of where he was putting his players, but the execution on that final play, DeAndre Ayton getting the ball just above the rim, and credit Jeff Van Gundy for being on top of it. Immediately, that's a situation where a lot of people go, oh, is that a goaltend? And it's not a goaltend, given the fact it was an inbounds pass and not a shot, so he could catch it right above the rim. So he was on top of it. And for DeAndre Ayton, this is a postseason I think is going to be huge for him moving forward because, yeah, he's a number 1 overall pick. But when you go back to that draft and you see Trae Young and Luka Doncic selected after him, now that's a lot of weight on your shoulders because we're watching those players kind of develop into superstars. But DeAndre Ayton this postseason has been consistent night in and night out and finally had his really star moment with the game-winning alley-oop.
You know what? I think that's a huge reason as to why the Suns have been really successful because they do have those guys who can step up at any moment. And that's their depth, It's not just like a couple superstars. Anyone can really step up. I mean, yesterday you also had Cameron Payne step up. Booker wasn't doing as great. He was struggling a little bit, but it didn't matter. And for a lot of teams, that's not always the case. If your star player is not doing well, usually you don't win. But that's not the case with the Suns, and that speaks a lot about the team overall and the coaching staff as well.
And that's why the Clippers, credit the Clippers because they fought. And I didn't think they were going to have that kind of fight last night. But good job, good effort means you come out on the losing end. And last night for LA, it's another good job, good effort moment. And it's why I just feel differently about this series than the other 2. The Clippers have proved us wrong already, coming back against Dallas, winning those last 2 games against the Jazz when Kawhi Leonard was out. But what you just said there, this Suns team got a little bit of luck because you need that along the way. But it's the supporting pieces, the role players stepping up when needed because your stars are going to still be there in the big moments. Devin Booker, that mid-range jumper he hit. But Cameron Payne, to your point, he had 29 points and 16 points in the first half, setting the tone, stepping in for CP3. And that's a team that is not just feeding off their star. And we're going to talk about the impact Chris Paul has still not even being there. This team talks about him so much, and he's not there. But then your role players have to step up. And the Clippers, been here, done that. But this feels so much different in the Western Conference Finals against this Suns team than those others. But I guess bury the Clippers at your own risk. But the question now is, how does Paul George respond after that one? We'll take your thoughts. 2460610 is Equan's Auto Care hotline. You can interact with the show as well on the NMDOT text line. That is 505-246-0610. You can send your emails, jj@sportsanimalabq.com. We got a lot of reaction to get to from this game, including what was said post-game from DeAndre Ayton to Paul George, their reactions to the final 60 seconds of that contest. We can look ahead to the Eastern Conference Finals, Milwaukee and Atlanta. Just as Isabel said, the unexpected, but the Stars are performing. The Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals. And how much pressure is now on Giannis Antetokounmpo to get it done, the 2-time NBA MVP in this situation. Richard Pitino spoke with the media yesterday. He's on the road recruiting, so we'll get into some Lobo basketball. Tons to get to, and oh yeah, Sebastian Noel is going to join us at 9 o'clock this morning. Some shocking upsets already in the first round of the baseball state tournament. Softball is underway. Of course, we'll catch up with him about the Duke City Gladiators. What a big Wednesday it is. Isabel Gonzalez with me in studio. Bobcat back from the major leagues. They sent him back down to the minors, but we appreciate you being back, Bob.
Oh, thank you. Thank you much. Yeah, they sent me back down.
Sent you back down to the minors. So he's
after
on his
yesterday's performance, yes.
AAA rehab assignment with us here at the Sports Animal. It's Opening Drive, 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Opening Drive, Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Mike, Josh produces for you today over on the ProView Network side, where you can watch the show worldwide on ProViewNetworks.com or statewide at Comcast Channel 26.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26.
Welcome to The Point with Nick Rich.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 10, America Talking Out.
I'm Pastor Flora Padilla of Mending Broken Hearts.
Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live, Comcast 26, and Big Bad ProView Network.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Welcome to Local Focus with Sebastian Noel.
Welcome, sports fans. It's that time of the week again. You are watching the Weekly Rundown.
Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network.
Hello, I'm Steve Davis. You are watching Public Access TV.
Here's a 1-2. That's lifted well hit into the gap. This might clear the bases. It's going to bounce off the wall, and it will clear the bases. A bases clearing double off the bat of Nico Barella. Got the glove on it. Squeezes for a second. That's tapped on the ground. It might be academic. They'll flip it to first in time for the double play ball. Huge lead. There's the pitch. It's low. Runner going on a delayed steal, and he's going to be out at second. One-two. The runner moving. It's pulled down the line. This might be trouble, and it's a fair ball. Sandoval coming around. Coach Pineda going to send him to the plate. Here comes the tying run, and he scores. Sandoval. The throw gets away. Cooper will go to second base, and we're all tied at 6 as Sandoval scampers in. Hit so far. That ball is driven deep to right center field, and it's gone. Second home run of the inning for the Cougars. They've got 5 runs in, and Siembieda has come roaring back here at the top of the 3rd inning. 2-run home run for Jalen Montez. Long look in, there's a pitch. That's in the air. In shallow right. Very aggressive as Gerard Pineda will have a play at the plate. Oh, what a hose in right. The ball was waiting for him as he came home, and he was dead to rights. 2-2, nobody out. 2 runs in. There's the pitch, and that's up the middle. No, right to Francois. Back to second for a double play. That's a good play by Francois. And 0-1 to Araceli Morales. There's the pitch. Morales swings, hits a Vela. What a catch by Vela in right field. Vela coming to her, running to her left and diving.
Let's see if it falls, and it looks like the catch was made, and indeed it was for the 3rd out. Sprawling was Kayla Reed for the 3rd out. What a play. swings it. This one looks ding dong doink. Yabba dabba doo. Grand slam by Mia Flores. Four ribbies for Mia as she just unleashed on that softball.
DCE Systems want to help schools reopen and keep the students, teachers, and staff safe. We can also help every business reopen and keep their employees and customers safe as well. Don't just disinfect. Novalent antimicrobial technology provides ongoing residual protection against bacteria and viruses and is proven to last up to 90 days. That's right, up to 90 days. Call us today at 505-507-7722 or go to DCESystemsInc.com to learn more. DCE Systems are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletic.
In Milwaukee, Atlanta, at the Bucks, the unexpected Eastern Conference Finals matchup. Milwaukee barely getting by Brooklyn Nets in 7 games, an OT victory in Game 7. Now coming up against the red-hot Atlanta Hawks, who put it into the Philadelphia 76ers season. Yes, there was an element of collapse involved in that 76ers series, but Trae Young and company has been fantastic, and now all the pressure shifts to Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck joined in studio this morning. Isabel Gonzalez, an OD debut for my Wednesday co-host and a good friend and colleague. And it's crazy when you look back all those years on the UNM shuttle bus from campus, talking after class, the UNM events that we've been at, and here we are on the airwaves. And Isabel, you were just telling me you thought you were going to be behind the scenes, and hasn't quite been that for you. You've been out front, moving. Great stuff, by the way. Isabel Gonzalez, follow her on the social media. But, man, right for the Lara, New Mexico, so you got Lobo stuff covered. You've been doing stuff for Mid-Major, Madness, Mountain West Wire, and a ton of NBA work this season.
Yeah, I mean, since you mentioned, like, how we met, my first internship, like, I met you, like, pretty much day one. That was with the Mountain West Network and Lobo TV.
Yep.
So even back then, I remember I wanted to do, like, more of the producing stuff. And they ended up putting me on camera. So I was behind camera, literally. I was, like, I think my nickname was One, because they would put me at the very top during soccer games. I would freeze my butt off all the time. But it was really fun. And I was like, you know what? I like this camera stuff. I think it's really cool to hear people, like, directing and, like, being creative with all of it. But then once I started taking more journalism classes at CNJ, they just kind of started throwing me in front of the camera. And I was not super sure that's what I wanted to do. But, I mean, here I am. And I've done a couple shows, so.
Oh, it's great. You've done awesome work in it. So excited to come in and hang out because that 7 a.m. start, but, 5:30 wake-up call doesn't get any easier.
I know, you're going to have to give me more tips if I do this again.
But here, Isabel joining us in studio. You can get involved. Quan's Auto Care hotline is 246-0610. The NMDOT text line 505-246-0610. So we look ahead to the Eastern Conference Finals. And Giannis Antetokounmpo has to be the player with the most pressure on him left in the postseason. Yes, we can talk about Paul George, but the injury to Kawhi Leonard is a big factor in that series. Same thing for Chris Paul not being there, but specifically for Milwaukee, they are as healthy as you can be. Their stars, Giannis, Chris Middleton, Jrue Holiday, are in the lineup. And then for Atlanta, it's how that entire team is fed off of Trae Young. Even you look at his shooting performance in Game 7 against the 76ers, just 5 of 23 from the field, but he just exudes this energy. Like, his team always follows him no matter what. So you go right back to Giannis and say, this is your moment. You got past KD. It's not the 76ers. It's not the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference that's in front of you. It's the upstart. This is their first time Atlanta Hawks on the other side. And here's the thing with Milwaukee. They should be the favorites. There should be no doubt that you pick Milwaukee to win this series, but there's doubt. And that's what Giannis has to change. Giannis has to be that superstar, 2-time MVP. Do you think he can be that in this series?
I think he can, but like you said, I think Milwaukee has everything to lose, and nobody really expected the Hawks to be there. So they have nothing to lose, and they're going to play that way. Yes, Trae Young has been performing amazing, and they're really hot right now. Even though, of course, they've had their struggles, but yeah, it's all going to be on Giannis. There is a lot of pressure on him, because like we talked about earlier, the regular superstars, the regular teams that we usually expect to see this far in the playoffs, they're not there. So Giannis is one of the biggest names right now, two-time MVP. He needs to do this for himself and for his team.
And is he going to be able to be in attack mode? And we see with Milwaukee, they're a team that when they settle, bad things happen. They don't need to be shooting a ton of threes. Milwaukee has to be the team that is going downhill constantly, led by Giannis, because he can be an unstoppable force when he's has the ball in his hands, he's going downhill, or he's setting up in the post because he's a good passer and he has a Shaq-like effect in the post. Now it's the confidence is when he gets to the free throw line. Can he just have the confidence to be an average shooter? We've talked so much about the struggles that Ben Simmons went through and him disappearing, Paul George at the very end. So when you're going to have the ball in your hand, you just have to have the confidence that you're going to be able to make the right play. Because teams, when Giannis has the ball in late game situations, they're not going to hesitate to put him on the free throw line. So as long as he stays in attack mode, I do believe Milwaukee wins this series. But there's just something about this Hawks team. They do feel like that Cinderella story in March Madness that everyone is going to start gravitating to, that 12 seed that somehow has made their way to the Elite Eight on the verge of going to the Final Four. That's what this Hawks team feels like.
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, like the Bucks have to be the favorites right now. They have that height advantage, and Giannis, I don't think the Hawks really have someone to like really contain him. Yes, it's going to fall a lot on John Collins, but it's not just going to be him. A lot of people are going to have to step up to make sure he doesn't have an amazing performance, just ends their series right away. But like I said, it's about not just settling. They just have to keep pushing really hard, and they do have more experience. Honestly, the Hawks are a very young team. So although they've been performing really well, I think especially right now, like this far off in the playoffs, experience really does matter because you put yourself in weird situations maybe some of the young guys are not used to.
Yeah, and it's, for Phoenix, Chris Paul's not there, but yet so many players are still talking about Chris Paul. Like DeAndre Ayton last night was asked like what Chris Paul would have thought in that moment. He's like, oh, this is what Chris would have done. So there's a lasting impact. And so you look at a team like Atlanta, and can Trae Young already be that presence? Can Trae Young have that impact on the team? And I do think that's a good point when you get to this deep in the playoffs, this point in the postseason. How are you handling adversity? Who's going to step up to lead the way? And so it's a huge moment for Trae Young, but it's Giannis because he's been there. He's had the heartbreak already in the playoffs. And this is a series that Milwaukee should not lose, which is, of course, easier said than done. But that Eastern Conference Finals gets going tonight. We'll take your thoughts on that. 246-0610 is the Quan's Auto Care hotline. Is Giannis the player? Even with what we saw to Paul George last night, and boy, do we still have so much to talk about with Paul George, but is he the guy in the Final Four that has the most pressure on him in the NBA playoffs? The player that has to get it done based on what his regular season track record has been and also just his overall talent and the path now that's in front of Milwaukee looking at the Atlanta Hawks. We also got the NMDOT text line. It's 505-246-0610. You can email the show, jj@sportsanimалabq.com. We come back on the other side. Richard Pitino met with the media yesterday. No breaking news, but the direction Lobo basketball is going. What does this summer mean for the program this fall? We'll get into that next. The opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Datacom is the manufacturer's representative for the states of Arizona and New Mexico. Datacom represents Fuji Electric for uninterruptible power systems and Layer 0 for static switches and power distribution units. High-Tech Power Protection manufactures dynamic rotary UPS systems up to 3.6 megawatts, individual and 100 megawatts by combining multiple units. Call Louis Ruffin today at 505-507-7722 or go to datacom.com to learn more.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. There at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Here at Legacy, we are here to disciple people by helping them connect with God, grow in relationships, and live generously.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
A rogue virus, no jobs, sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead.
4 times you see that final play, Drake Crowder to DeAndre Ayton, just the more it hurts for the Clippers. And you look at the angle of the inbounds, Jay Crowder was on the baseline and got that pass. It didn't hit the backboard. It was like 3 inches above Zubac's fingers. And DeAndre Ayton rises above for the game-winning go-ahead basket. 104-103 victory for the Suns as they take a 2-0 series lead in the Western Conference Finals. Just unbelievable finish last night. And so many moments. Now, you have to question, should the final 90 seconds of a game take 33 minutes in real time? But what do we want? Do we want to get the calls right? Or do we just want to play it out? Or should they just go down to challenges at that point in time? And that's definitely a topic for conversation because some of the extra timeouts the teams got down the stretch. The opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck joined in studio by Isabel Gonzalez this morning. Bobcat back behind the glass taking your calls. 246-0610 is the Quan's Auto Care hotline. But Richard Pitino spoke with the media yesterday. No breaking news, but just kind of an update on how things are going. And you get to he was on the road in a hotel room because recruiting is back open. Coaches back out there as the dead period, which was almost a year of not having players on campus, is gone. So the work has started up again in a different way. A couple things that did stand out. Yes, UNM still won over the scholarship limit, and Pitino said that he doesn't necessarily have a timetable on when he's going to figure that out. Still kind of letting it play out for his players. And a lot of questions are really then, all right, well, what's happening right now? What is important about this summer? One, it's just the ability to practice. And team chemistry is huge because this day and age, more times than not, you're going to have like a brand new roster each year. College athletics is changing in a big way, and it's going to continue to change. And there's a lot of hurdles ahead for coaches and athletic departments, but at least for right now, you can simplify it and say, this is our roster. How are we going to maximize this team? And really, it's about getting comfortable. And that was a theme of Richard Pitino, was just getting the players comfortable being on campus, because a lot of these guys committed without actually ever getting a chance to come to campus. And then just figuring out what it's like being together. And, oh, by the way, we'll eventually get to putting in sets and the style of play. But you've gotten a chance to see these guys in the one open practice. What is your just initial feel of this roster as they feel each other out?
Well, it's very interesting because I am a beat writer, and I feel like this off season is it's kind of new to me and new to everyone else. Because not only do you have a lot of new faces on that roster, but the coaching staff's also different. I've talked to Pitino multiple times now, but I haven't been in person with him that much. So everything just feels new. That was the first practice I've been in like a year, probably over a year. And I think they've been together maybe a week or so. So, I mean, there were a couple things I could see, but so early into practices, so early with them just coming together, they're still getting to know each other, to be honest. They haven't been together that long. They're still getting to know their coaches. And it kind of went as you expected, as you would expect. A little bit of sloppy plays, but a lot of energy, actually. I think the roster has a lot of potential, like individually and just as a team, of course. There were a couple guys who were definitely standing out. Jalen House was pretty impressive. He is going to be a great leader for the team, not just on how he plays. He's very fast and obviously very talented. But I think as a point guard, he is a very vocal leader. And Pitino likes his confidence. I liked it too. And he was struggling during the scrimmage with his jump shots, but he had a good attitude about it. So he admitted it. He was like, oh man, I keep missing. But he just kept trying. He just kept, doing whatever it took for, even though it's just a scrimmage, just to, have his teammates be successful as well. And a couple of the returning players also looked pretty good. Javonte Johnson, we didn't get to see that much of him last year, but he's a great shooter. If you remember, in high school, he was known to be a scorer. He was averaging something crazy like 30 points per game, and that's not something we got to see last year at all. But he looked great during practice. I think if he works on that confidence on game time situations, he's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, Javonte Johnson of the returners, I think, is a player that so many Lobo fans are excited about because of that hype coming from college. And just he didn't get a chance to develop. It's one thing when you look at other Division I guys, at least they've had some time and what it's been like. But we're talking about a true freshman that never had a chance to practice fully with the team. And so there's still a lot of untapped potential with Javonte Johnson. And he was a name that I know Lobo fans were hoping would stick around because of that potential. You wanted to see some development. I think he definitely has been a bright spot for this team. I know Richard Pitino's playing it even kill. He's asked multiple times, who stands out to you? What's impressed you? And he's like, I don't have high expectations right now. As I mean, he just wants the guys to get comfortable. He wants to see the attitude, the effort, the buy-in. But I do think Javonte Johnson is a guy that is standing out because I know there were some questions about him. They weren't sure if it was just a practice player or can this guy ultimately translate it to the court when it matters. But now that they have as regular of an offseason as you can, it's going to help Javonte Johnson so big. And I'm really excited to see Jeremiah Francis. He is one of the few players that we've had a chance to talk to over the last year and a half. And I really think, he said that he's the healthiest he's been since like going back to high school before he suffered those injuries. Just being that, if you could call it a veteran presence, just because he's been there, done that, at least at the collegiate level for a while, fitting in, kind of being that backup guard behind a Jalen House. So I am excited for those two, and then also Saquon Singleton. I think that those guys are definitely going to have a chip on their shoulder coming back because Richard Pitino essentially brought in an entire new team. And I get it. You guys, they weren't good last year, but there were so many challenges. I really think when you look at those three specifically in the backcourt, that they're going to feel like they really do have something to prove.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Jeremiah Francis because I think last season a lot of people have very high expectations of him because of where he was coming from. But you have to remember he was injured as well, and he maybe didn't get as much playing time for a while. So this season, last season was weird for everyone. Like, Javonte Johnson being a freshman, that's a hard transition on its own. But then during a pandemic, not being at home. And then Jeremiah Francis, like you said, he's kind of a veteran, but at the same time, just the situations he's been in maybe hasn't been the easiest path, of course, not like a true veteran with all this experience. But he seems like he could be a leader as well. Like you said, behind House as well. I'm excited to see him. I don't think I know him that well enough just to talk about his personality and stuff, but watching him play during that scrimmage, just throughout those workouts, he brings a lot of energy. He's very focused, and that's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, and for the Lobos, too, the big thing is just going to be getting everyone here. Now, Jamal Mashburn, don't you worry, he's coming. He's not here yet, but he's still committed to the University of New Mexico. He will be here. They're expecting him a little bit later this summer, maybe at the end of July. Sebastian Forsling, the freshman from Sweden, just dealing with some international stuff, but he's expected to make his way here. Same thing with Burma Sek, the forward from Arizona. He's playing prep school. So those three are still on track to be Lobos, just not quite here yet. And so that's why it's a big opportunity, whether it's Alan Tovar, the 6'9" JUCO player from Salt Lake City Community College, and then Jethro Muscadine, I think, opening some eyes, the 6'10" transfer from Kansas because of his athletic ability. And I think the big thing, too, when you look at forwards on this specific Lobo roster, is going to be what they do defensively. Because that was, there were a lot of problems with last year's Lobo basketball team, but definitely one of the big ones is they just didn't have an inside presence.
Yeah, and actually with him, it'll be pretty interesting because Pitino wanted him, for a while. He wanted him last year, and he said it was maybe destiny that he got to coach him, or he's getting to coach him next season. So I think it'll be exciting to watch him just because Pitino has seen something in him for such a long time. So I'm just going to trust him on that, trust that he definitely has a lot to offer. And I think Mashburn's going to be very important as well because he already has that relationship with Pitino. And with so many new faces right now, I'm sure the coach is still getting to know everyone, but he knows Mashburn. So since, everyone else is new, Mashburn could kind of be that good source of communicating with the coach and the players as well because he knows the coach and he'll get along with his teammates.
Yeah, that's going to be big, too. Once he comes in,
Mm-hmm.
he's just going to have a couple weeks of just not building that chemistry. But I think, as you mentioned, kind of being able to bridge that gap to, all right, knowing Richard Pitino, I think that's going to help him mesh into the system and then start building that chemistry, I think, even quicker with the players because he's not necessarily going to come in and be like, oh, no, what are we doing? Oh, what are we running here? He's going to have that on him. So I think that's a good point with Jamal Mashburn, but Richard Pitino, it's kind of given a state of the program yesterday for the Lobos as the coaches are on the road recruiting, got some workouts under their belt over the last couple weeks and looking forward to the season. Now they still have, what he said, a home and home or a road series they're trying to finish because I know people are waiting on that schedule. So hopefully we get that schedule soon.
Oh, yeah, I get asked about that a couple times a week. I'm like, I don't know, guys. I don't come up with the schedule.
Hopefully soon. Well, the Lobo football team was able to officially announce their schedule with 5 games on Stadium. We'll let you know about that. So much to get to this morning here on the opening drive. The Western Conference Finals last night. Eastern Conference Finals get going tonight. Lobo basketball. We're going to get some more into the tournament. Yes, TBT, especially with the All-Star game July 11th. But looking back at our conversation yesterday with Brandon Mason, some great basketball talk, and of course, the high school sports. It just had to be crazy on day one. Upsets in the state baseball tournament. How'd it look at softball? We'll talk with Sebastian Noel coming up at 9 o'clock this morning from ProView Networks. We're talking about getting comfortable. Well, F45 training is a gym that you walk in and you're not going to feel overwhelmed. It's an easy feeling to have when you go to a new gym or you're trying to figure out what is going to work best for you when it comes to your health and fitness. With F45 training, it's high-intensity training, fast, fun, and results-driven, and the atmosphere is really important. They want the gym to be welcoming. They don't want you to go in there and feel overwhelmed or feel like it's a gym that's not for you, because guess what? It is. It's for everyone. If you think you're in great shape, well, guess what? F45 will challenge you to get to the next level, but you can also be someone that's looking to kickstart their fitness journey. And how does that make sense? How can that work at F45? Well, it's the classes that they put together in just 45 minutes. It's high intensity, full body functional fitness. And the workouts, they're all set up when you go. The monitors on the wall have the sets and where you're at. And the beauty of it is because when they set up the workout, they lay out all the different weight levels, and you're going to be so focused on your sets that you're not going to be worried about what everyone else is doing. You're just going to be able to focus on yourself and get a fantastic workout in just 45 minutes. So check them out at f45training.com. Download the F45 app today. Take a look at the Northeast Heights location. They have classes available 7 days a week, so you can find a way to fit that 45 minutes into your schedule. You can also sign up for your 7-day free trial on the app. I'll be there tonight, 5:45. That is when I can fit in my 45 minutes, and you can do it as well. F45training.com. Download the app today. Team training, life-changing. I'll see you at F45.
A rogue virus. No jobs. Sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green and keep the community green as well. Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment. You trash it, we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
next in line.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Car Crafters is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Drive, Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Micah, Josh produces for you today over on the ProView Network side, where you can watch the show worldwide on ProViewNetworks.com or statewide at Comcast Channel 26.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26.
Welcome to The Point with Nick Rich.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 10, America Talking Out.
I'm Pastor Flora Padilla of Mending Broken Hearts.
Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live, Comcast 26, and Big Bad ProView Network.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Welcome to Local Focus with Sebastian Noel.
Welcome, sports fans. It's that time of the week again. You are watching the Weekly Rundown.
Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network.
Hello, I'm Steve Davis. You are watching Public Access TV.
.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal. Sports Animal.
Well, of course, it's not just the umpires and pitchers. It's everyone else getting involved with the foreign substances that Major League Baseball is now checking for. And did you see Joe Girardi and Max Scherzer last night? What a back and forth. Because guess what? Of course, Joe Girardi is going to be the guy that's out there going, let's check Max Scherzer again. Max Scherzer, you need to be checked not once, but twice. Of course, pitchers, we've seen after really the first inning, they come off the field, they walk over, the ump says, all right, let me see your hat, your belt, and your glove. And they're just going to start putting it in other places now. But they move on. Well, Joe Girardi requested that they check Max Scherzer again, and Max Scherzer went into a complete meltdown. But this is what Joe Girardi said about the situation.
I've seen Max a long time, since 2010. Obviously, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But I've never seen him wipe his head like he was doing tonight, ever. Going like this, right? So it was suspicious for me. He did it about 4 or 5 times. It was suspicious. I didn't mean to offend anyone. I just got to do what's right for our club.
And this is now another wrinkle to the game. He's going to say, oh, I was doing what was right for my club. And you're doing that to get under Max Scherzer's skin. And this is Max Scherzer saying why he was wiping his head.
Obviously, Girardi, for me, it's, kind of confusing. If you watch the bomb at bat, I almost put a 95-mile-an-hour fastball on his head because the ball slipped out of my hand. The whole night I was sick of kind of licking my fingers and tasting rosin the whole night. So the only part, I couldn't even get sweat from the back of my head because it wasn't really a warm night. So for me, the only part that was sweaty on me was actually my hair. So I had to take off my hat to be able to try to get any type of, try to get some type of moisture on my hand to try to, mix with the rosin.
This is insane. Like, we're not talking about just gripping a baseball. We're talking about moisture and sunscreen and not being sweaty enough. The challenge it is to throw a baseball, yeah, it's an incredible skill. But all of a sudden, pitchers can't hold baseballs. Managers are going after these guys. Scherzer and Girardi back and forth. You saw Scherzer. I thought he was just going to rip off everything at that point in time. That's as frustrated as he is. And you thought, okay, this is going to be an interesting week. But now Joe Girardi's not going to be the only manager that does this, especially when there's an ace on the mound. So now we're going to see the frustration build up between pitchers, managers, hitters. And this is just getting started for Major League Baseball.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes people forget that when it comes to sports, like any sport really, it's not just about the game, but there's a lot of mental stuff that goes with it. So, yeah, like when you can get under someone's skin, you end up doing it because you want to get in their head, you want to distract them. And, I mean, this is obviously a very weird situation, but yeah.
Yeah, Scherzer was inspected 3 times in 5 innings last night as Washington defeated Philadelphia 3-2. But this is just the start of it, and we're going to see managers like Joe Girardi. We're going to see other managers just say, oh, let's do an extra check. Let's do something else to try to get the pitcher thrown off his game. And yes, pitchers are frustrated, but so are fans, man. We understand things aren't perfect. It's not always Skittles and rainbows. There's going to be lines that people like to cross, but ultimately when it's all said and done, we do want to enjoy a sport as fair as possible. And in baseball, it seems so simple, but why can't it be baseball, throw ball, try to hit ball? And we've seen over the last few decades, they've struggled to figure out whether it's the steroid era, now all of a sudden the spider tack era, and baseballs are too hard to grip and throw. Like, why can't we just come together, find a way, and say, hey, here's a baseball. This is what it's going to be. It's not going to change every year. It's not going to be a baseball that flies out of the ballpark. These are the seam level. This is how we're making a baseball for everyone. This is an approved substance that doesn't necessarily add to spin rate. That's what we're going to allow everyone to use to grip the baseball and just make sure bats aren't full of Super Bowls, and we'll be good to go. It seems so simple, but Major League Baseball just can't quite figure it out.
And I think that's an issue that a lot of people have with baseball, you know? They complain about it being so long, and then it's supposed to be simple, but then there's all these little things that kind of go with it. So, yeah, like you said, like it would be nice to just see you throw the ball, you hit it. And unfortunately, that is not the case.
Oh, from the unwritten rules to the spider tack on a baseball, things to figure out. But we're going to see this happen. And, of course, this is the first week, so it's going to be magnified. But I wasn't even in the back of my mind thinking that we're going to see opposing managers use it just yet. But the point you made up, the mental aspect of it, trying to get whatever edge possible. We also saw Sergio Romo, Oakland A's reliever. He didn't handle it well when he walked off the field last night getting inspected. And so each pitcher is going to have to deal with it because more and more, whether it's opposing hitters are going to be chirping or managers, if they see that it's getting you off their game, they're going to keep requesting, hey, look at this pitcher. What's it going to do? So it's a learning period for pitchers, but it's another edge in the game as we'll see the back and forth as these pitchers are going to be inspected for foreign substances. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. Hoops, scoops, and alley-oops. Plenty to get to this morning. Also, tight end you. Did we really have to explain why Tim Tebow wasn't invited? I think we all know why Tim Tebow wasn't invited to tight end you. A ton to get to. JJ Buck joined by Isabel Gonzalez. Bobcat behind the glass. Aaron producing on ProView Networks. OD here at 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Here's a 1-2. That's lifted, well hit into the gap. This might clear the bases. It's going to bounce off the wall, and it will clear the bases. A bases clearing double off the bat of Nico Barella. Got the glove on it. Squeezes for a second. That's tapped on the ground. It might be academic. They'll flip it to first in time for the double play ball. huge lead. There's the pitch. It's low. Runner going on a delayed steal, and he's going to be out at second. 1-2. The runner moving. It's pulled down the line. This might be trouble, and it's a fair ball. Sandoval coming around. Coach Pineda going to send him to the plate. Here comes the tying run, and he scores. Sandoval. The throw gets away. Cooper will go to second base, and we're all tied at 6 as Sandoval scampers in.
Hit so far. That ball is driven deep to right center field, and it's gone. Second home run of the inning for the Cougars. They've got 5 runs in, and Siembieda has come roaring back here at the top of the 3rd inning. 2-run home run for Jalen Montez.
Long look in. There's a pitch. That's in the air. In shallow right. Very aggressive as Gerard Pineda will have a play at the plate. Oh, what a hose in right. The ball was waiting for him as he came home, and he was dead to rights.
2-2, nobody out. 2 runs in. There's the pitch, and that's up the middle. No, right to Francois. Back to second for a double play. That's a good play by Francois. And 0-1 to Araceli Morales. There's the pitch. Morales swings, hits a Vela. What a catch by Vela in right field. Vela coming to her, running to her left and diving.
Let's see if it falls, and it looks like the catch was made, and indeed it was for the 3rd out. Sprawling was Kayla Reed for the 3rd out. What a play. Garcia prepares, deals, and she swings it. This one looks ding dong doink. Yabba dabba doo. Grand slam by Mia Flores. Four ribbies for Mia as she just unleashed on that softball.
DCE Systems want to help schools reopen and keep the students, teachers, and staff safe. We can also help every business reopen and keep their employees and customers safe as well. Don't just disinfect. Novalent antimicrobial technology provides ongoing residual protection against bacteria and viruses and is proven to last up to 90 days. That's right, up to 90 days. Call us today at 505-507-7722 or go to DCESystemsInc.com to learn more. DCE Systems are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
And JJ Buck.
Well, if you didn't know, now you know. The Phoenix Suns get out the way. Good job, good effort means you lost. And for the Clippers last night, it was good job, good effort until Paul George. I don't know what to do, man. I've tried. I have been on your side this postseason. You have stepped up. You have played very well this postseason. Without Kawhi Leonard, yes, the Terrence Mann game happened. We credit Terrence Mann scoring 39 points in a game against the Utah Jazz. But the consistent was Paul George. But then last night, a chance to put the game away, especially with how it ended, or at least only allow Phoenix to force overtime. Up 1 at the free throw line, clanks 2 free throws. The Suns then come down, get the go-ahead shot up, miss, and then 0.7 of a second left. An inbounds play that will live in the history of not just the Phoenix Suns, but the LA Clippers.
Crowder waiting with it, lobs it under. Yes! It's good. DeAndre Ayton scores the basket over the rim and in. DeAndre Ayton put it over the rim and in. The players are out on the floor.
Phoenix Suns radio on the call. DeAndre Ayton, the go-ahead finish. Credit the alley to Jay Crowder, and it's a 104-103 victory for the Suns as they take a 2-0 series lead in the Western Conference Finals. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck joined by Isabel Gonzalez this morning. Bobcat back on his minor league rehab assignment now with us here at The Sports Animal. Taking your calls, 246-0610 is the Quan's Auto Care hotline. In just an unbelievable 90 seconds that, yes, it took about a half hour in real time, but so many clutch plays. But it's how do the Clippers respond? This is the third straight series they've been down 0-2. We've counted them out in the first round against the Mavericks. We thought Luka Doncic was going to take over. We counted them out, and how could you not count them out after Kawhi Leonard went down against the Utah Jazz? But here we go again. However, this time feels different. It feels different against this Phoenix Suns team. And Isabel, you saw just everything that back and forth in that final minute. And I don't know how they overcome this 0-2 deficit.
Honestly, it is different. It feels different, but it is different because we don't know when Kawhi Leonard's going to come back. Like, just starting with that, just not having him available, it does put a lot of pressure on Paul George. But also, Paul George has been playing a lot of minutes. Since Game 5 with Dallas, he's been averaging over 41 minutes per game, so that's insane. I don't think it's an excuse. Like, free throws shouldn't be missed, especially two clutch free throws that could have gotten you to overtime, could have won you the game, but he has played a lot, and eventually he's already tired. I feel like he's already tired, and he's going to keep getting tired if he has to play these minutes.
And this is Paul George on those two late free throws.
I mean, I'm not going to put too much on that. Obviously, it was a opportunity that was missed. Pat made an unbelievable play that put me in position to extend the lead. I'm always confident at the free throw line. I've always been very successful in clutch moments at the free throw line. Tonight, I was just unsuccessful.
And that's the thing. Sports are so much more than just the final plays. But what lingers, what matters? It's what happens in the final seconds. Like, we don't care about that one possession in the second quarter or maybe those back-to-back shots you made in the third quarter. It's what do you do with the game on the line? And Paul George stepped up and claimed 2 free throws. And playoff P, pandemic P, all that stuff comes to the forefront. And that's what we react to. Because what we saw is down the stretch, because he hit a clutch shot. He answered Devin Booker's shot with 22 seconds left. But the free throw line, they're free throws. You just said it, Isabel. Yeah, you're tired, but you're not running at that moment in time. You just have to focus mentally. And Paul George wasn't there. And ultimately, it ended up costing them the game because at worst, that should have been in overtime. Instead, it was a game-winning shot from DeAndre Ayton. And this was DeAndre after the game on everything leading up to that final moment.
I just trust my teammates and my coaches. I just listen. I'm coachable. Just listen to what they told me to do. And, Jay made a great pass, and I just finished. And I'm glad it counted. I didn't even know, it counted for real. I wanted to hold in my celebration, but, my teammates told me it counted, and we just wanted to finish the game off strong.
Now, Monty Williams, I thought he was the NBA Coach of the Year. Now, Tom Thibodeau, New York Knicks, good season, but Monty Williams, you're seeing it. Yes, Chris Paul's impact is huge on this team. The fact that they're still talking about Chris and he's not there. They're still referencing what Chris Paul would have done and he's not there. So Chris Paul has had a huge impact on this team. But just look at some of those situations, the plays they were running. Players have to make plays. But Monty Williams was putting all the pieces in the right position last night in the fourth quarter. Ty Lue was doing his darndest because I like the way Zubac responded in his starting lineup. You got a good Pat Bev game, but too much from Phoenix and Monty Williams.
Definitely. I think coaching is obviously a huge part in the playoffs because although you might have some good players, talented players, you do have to come up with those plays, especially in key moments like that. And, yeah, he's just shown throughout the whole season, throughout the postseason, how much he can do.
And Chris Paul, the thing that you got to just say this is different for the Clippers is he's coming back. And we don't know about Kawhi. His status is so uncertain with that knee. Is it a sprain? Is it something more? All we know is his knee is injured, and there's no timetable. For Chris Paul, it's just waiting to get through the test. If you noticed, he's on TikTok with his family, so he's in quarantine with his family, but he's looking good. He's doing the dances, and there's a sense that he's going to come back for Game 3 in L.A. on Thursday night, or at worst, Game 4, and that's why Phoenix is in such a great position. And we got to bury the Clippers again. We have to do it because I don't know how they overcome this. I like the fight that we see from LA. They're responding without their best player, Kawhi Leonard. I think Ty Lue has opened some eyes with the way that Utah Jazz series ended, and people realize he's more than just the guy that was coaching LeBron James at the end there in Cleveland. But overall, there's something special about this Suns team, the way that they're responding. Campaign had 29 points. You know Devin Booker is becoming that dude, busted nose and all, finishing out the game. And Isabel, this is something that you brought up. What stands out to you is the way everyone is playing around Devin Booker.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think the Suns are very powerful right now because anyone can really step up. Like, yes, Devin Booker is very talented, but the Suns are one of those teams that if their star player doesn't have the perfect night, it's okay. They do have other guys who will surprise you. And I think that's always super important for teams to have when you have that guy who can come in and just surprise the other team, because it doesn't always come out in like scouting reports, you know? Usually some teams you have those main guys you focus on and that's about it. But with the Suns, you got to focus on everyone because they can obviously pull it off.
Speaking about guys that surprise you, you think we'd be talking about Alex Caruso? Right now, Lakers lost in the first round. Alex Caruso is an impending free agent in the league. What is his value? What is his role going to be on a team? Well, Alex Caruso was in the news. And Alex Caruso was arrested on Tuesday for marijuana possession and drug paraphernalia, according to Texas A&M police. Of course, the Texas A&M alum Alex Caruso getting a little too crazy back on campus, but Alex Caruso, I don't think that's going to derail your career, but that's not necessarily the headline that you wanted to see for him as we're talking about DeAndre Ayton, the Western Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals, and Alex Caruso just maybe relaxing a little too much back at his old college campus. Mugshot and all.
I gotta say, when one of my friends texted me as soon as they posted it on Twitter, I wasn't sure if it was real. I feel like that's not something people. Yeah, I was like, wait, I haven't seen it on all the major news outlets yet, so I don't know. That's not something I thought about when I think of like Alex Caruso. But then a couple hours later, of course, it's everywhere, and I was trying to go to bed early, but I couldn't. I was just scrolling through Twitter, looking at all the memes.
It was hard to unwind last night with the way that Phoenix game ended, and you want to get the post-game reaction. You're like, wait, I got to go to bed. I got to wake up early. There was so much getting. And who knows, maybe Alex Caruso he's trying to up that rep in the locker room. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, LeBron James replied. I think he was having a good time with it as well, so.
Oh, with all the changes we're seeing, yes, an exceptional Western Conference Finals game, and Alex Caruso sneaking in to the headlines. We got so much to get to this morning. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Sebastian Noel will join us from ProView Networks. What an opening day to state baseball and softball. We'll talk some Duke City Gladiators as well, as they're right back in action at home this weekend. So that's coming up at 9 o'clock. Coming up next, the future was decided by some ping pong balls, but what does it all mean? The NBA draft lottery last night, winners and losers, and who could be the next game-changing player in the NBA? It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
With double the
for your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Datacom is the manufacturer's representative for the states of Arizona and New Mexico. Datacom represents Fuji Electric for uninterruptible power systems and Layer Zero for static switches and power distribution units. High-Tech Power Protection manufactures dynamic rotary UPS systems up to 3.6 megawatts, individual and 100 megawatts by combining multiple units. Call Louis Ruffin today at 505-507-7722 or go to datacom.com to learn more.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. They're at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Here at Legacy, we are here to disciple people by helping them connect with God, grow in relationships, and live generously.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
A rogue virus, no jobs, sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines.
Well, the NBA playoffs are showing you that it can be done without buying a star team. Yes, it's nice if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving want to sign with your team, if Kawhi Leonard picks you in free agency, but there's other ways to be successful. Look at Phoenix, look at Atlanta. These are teams we weren't expecting to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Even with what Phoenix did during the regular season, the majority picked the Lakers to win that first round series. Now, injuries happen, and with AD out, it was an entire different series. But guess what? Phoenix not only went on to beat LeBron James, they went on to sweep Jokic, the MVP, and now they're up 2-0 in the Western Conference Finals. So what ifs are out the window for the Phoenix Suns. But how did they get here? How did they go from a team that hasn't been good for quite some time? The last moment you think of Phoenix being good, you go back to what we saw last night, right? The busted Steve Nash. That last hoorah was Steve Nash, Mari Stoudemire, Sean Marion, Mike D'Antoni in Phoenix, and then the drought. But here they are in the Western Conference Finals, and it's because they hit when it came to the NBA draft. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by Isabel Gonzalez this morning. The draft lottery was last night, and the Detroit Pistons took home the number 1 overall pick. The top 4 picks in the 2021 NBA draft. It will go Detroit, the Houston Rockets, Cleveland Cavaliers, and then the Toronto Raptors. So it can be done. You can build through the draft and then add a piece like Chris Paul to take you over the top. Case in point, look at the Atlanta Hawks, what they're doing with Trae Young and then the veterans that they added around him. But the name that you're going to get to know when we look forward to the draft process is Cade Cunningham. He's the odds-on favorite to be the number 1 overall pick from Oklahoma State. But really what stands out to me is Toronto moving up to 4. They thought they were going to be in the 7-8 range. So that's a huge jump for Toronto in the lottery. You know, the Raptors struggled last season, a lot of injuries, and they were a team that still wasn't able to play in Canada, so they were playing a lot of their games in Orlando. So Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam have a chance to add a guard there, especially wherever Kyle Lowry is at. You know, he's on the end. How many more good years? So I think the biggest winners outside of Detroit landing the number 1 overall pick, I think Toronto is in a great position to rebound and immediately be a playoff team next year. And how about the Golden State Warriors? They have the 7th pick and the 14th overall pick. You know, Klay Thompson's coming back from his injury. You're going to get Wiseman back with Steph Curry, Draymond Green. Golden State's in a position to make some big moves this offseason.
Yeah, I agree. And Golden State's a little bit interesting because you've had those injuries, and if you didn't have them, I guess we're going to those what ifs.
Yeah.
They are a good team if they don't have those injuries. So they will be probably looking forward to adding those players that could contribute if your stars are injured. But you know, that's the injury aspect of it. Like, we wouldn't really be having this conversation right now if those injuries hadn't happened. Like, they would probably be in the playoffs right now. So, yeah, they're an interesting team for sure. And the Raptors, I was definitely looking at them as well because they might not get to keep Kyle Lowry. And if they don't, like, obviously their focus is going to be trying to keep him probably. But if they can't, that's okay because they have a chance to get Jalen Suggs in the point guard position. Gonzaga's Jalen Suggs. He is just an overall, like, well-rounded player. He might not stand out in one specific statistic, but he does make his teammates better. And he's an aggressive playmaker. I think he would be a real nice fit with Fred VanVleet in the backcourt. So, yeah, they have a good opportunity for sure.
Yeah, and for Toronto, we also saw OG Anunoby come on late. And I like Jalen Suggs a lot. I think we saw it in March Madness, what he was able to do, a guard that was really focusing on taking over the game, and as a true freshman to live up to some of those moments, the expectations that Gonzaga team had. And I know that you did a lot of work covering Gonzaga this year, so you kind of have that knowledge of the situation. And Jalen Suggs, with or without Kyle Lowry adding to that core, you know, Toronto is in a fantastic position to make a huge jump forward. And this is a draft into the top. There's going to be a lot of questions, but NBA people really like the talent. You know, Evan Mobley, USC could potentially be a top 3 pick, but you're just looking at the Detroit Pistons and what could they do landing Cade Cunningham. And are they a team that's ready to make a move? Now, there's still some frustration when you look at teams that might have slid down a little bit. New Orleans Pelicans, potentially dealing with some issues. Zion Williamson, how happy is he going to be? We just saw Stan Van Gundy go one and done as a head coach of the New Orleans Pelicans, but a huge night for Detroit. I think Toronto is going to take a big step forward because that is a team that is ready to win. Just like everyone, dealt with some injuries last year, but they could not overcome it, found themselves in the lottery, and then Golden State sitting there with picks 7 and 14 ready to make some big-time moves. Quan's Auto Care Hotline, 246-0610. Marty, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Marty?
Hey, guys. I wanted to talk about something maybe you guys have covered, maybe not. But I know the Suns, great run. But let's go back to that Lakers series because I like to keep it real, right? I think they obviously benefited from the AD injury. Let's go back to the Lakers being up 2-1. I know the Suns surprised them that first game. I felt going into that game 4, up until AD's injury, I was like, oh, man, this series is over. And I say AD because I strongly believe he's the best player in the league. I really believe that. And it showed last year when the Lakers won the championship. We all love to live in the past in sports. We do. We really do. We're awful at it. All sports fans. We live in the past. The NFL's the case example of it. But everybody thinks LBJ is still the best player. Wrong. I think it's Anthony Davis. When healthy, and that's the big question. When healthy. So you look at the Lakers, you obviously lost the best player in the league, in my opinion, and I think last year proved it. And I think the Suns are done. They would have probably lost that series 4-1, maybe 4-2. So as much as we're praising the Suns and how great they are, it was only because the best player in their league got hurt, in my opinion. But we'll see how they come back. They'll retool. I think the Lakers will be aggressive in the offseason. I don't know how much money they have and all that. It gets crazy every year. It's hard to keep up with that in the NBA with the luxury tax and all that. But I just kind of wanted to bring it home to Laker fans. You know, I think they've got the best player in the league. How long will LBJ go for? I'm not sure. Maybe 1 or 2 good years. But they still got to pick up a third piece. Lowry would be a nice addition. Schroeder, I think he could be moved. Some other guys can be moved. But that's how I see the season. I think the AD injury was the biggest injury of all.
All right, Marty.
Have a great day, guys.
Appreciate the phone call. Now, you're not wrong. Anthony Davis is healthy. Phoenix is not here. I agree with that. But AD got hurt, and Phoenix took advantage, then went on the run. You can say the same thing for the Milwaukee Bucks. If Kyrie Irving doesn't turn his ankle, it's the Brooklyn Nets that are in the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's the Brooklyn Nets that we're looking at as being the NBA favorites. Now, Anthony Davis, the reason we don't put him in the conversation for best player is just availability. And unfortunately, he's had a tough injury history, but you go back to what he did last year. No one's denying Anthony Davis and his ability. Now, I do think that there is a debate between kind of most impactful player and best player. I also think I would take Kevin Durant over Anthony Davis. But I do agree at this point in time, the way that Lakers team was constructed, Anthony Davis had the bigger impact, even more so than LeBron James right now, because look at that team with and without Anthony Davis. But injuries are no doubt a huge factor this postseason. And yeah, you can play the what if game. We brought that up. What if? But AD did get hurt, and Phoenix took advantage of it.
Honestly, yes, AD, very impactful when he's not injured. I think Charles Barkley was, sort of bringing that up. He's very injury prone. So for the offseason, that's something he's going to have to work on. Just try to get his body healthy, because it's not just one specific thing. It just always happens. But I do think that if LeBron James had been 100%, maybe we could still have the Lakers. Like, AD does play a huge part in it. But LeBron being injured, like, they were both gone for a while. I feel with that Lakers team throughout the regular season, they didn't get to really get that chemistry all the way because there were so many guys coming in and out. And with your 2 best players doing that, and LeBron James, he did his best, as best as he could, during the playoffs, but he wasn't 100%. I think although he might be getting older, he still has a huge impact on the team.
And that's the thing. Like, in the moment, this is a huge storyline to the playoffs. The injuries are a major factor. I don't think Milwaukee's in a situation if Kyrie Irving is healthy. You can absolutely raise the question that Phoenix is not in the Western Conference Finals if Anthony Davis doesn't get hurt. But those ifs are reality because it happened to AD and the Lakers. It happened to Kyrie. And then James Harden for that series, even when he came back, who knows what percentage he was actually at, as compared to what we expect to see from him. So absolutely, the injuries are a huge storyline. But guess what? Once you get to the finals, the conference finals, and you're here, there's no changing that. And Phoenix is in control. Chris Paul on his way back. And I think that's why we're looking at the Phoenix Suns as the favorites. But that's sport. You need things to break your way, good and bad. Yeah, some bad luck with injuries for the Lakers and Nets. And Phoenix took advantage of that and ran away with it. Not just defeating the Lakers in the first round, but not giving the Nuggets a chance in that series, sweeping them 4-0. And then here we are back to the Western Conference Finals. Suns all in. Let's count out the Clippers again, but this time it definitely feels different. Now, speaking of pressure, Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Hawks tonight in the Eastern Conference Finals. You can get in. Quan's Auto Care hotline is 2460610. NMDOT text line 505-2460610. Email the show jj@sportsanimalabq.com. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green and keep the community green as well. Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment. You trash it, we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Next in line. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Car Crafters is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Drive, Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck, Micah. Josh produces for you today over on the ProView Network side, where you can watch the show worldwide on ProViewNetworks.com or statewide at Comcast Channel 26.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26.
Welcome to The Point with Nick Rich.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 10, America Talking Out.
I'm Pastor Flora Padilla of Mending Broken Hearts.
Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live. Comcast.
In the off season, players getting together, working on their craft. The last couple of years, big story has been Von Miller and this pass rushing summit that he's put on. Well, one of the best tight ends in the NFL, 49ers, George Kittle, along with Kansas City Chiefs Travis Kelce and Greg Olsen, retired tight end, put in a tight end U camp together, bringing tight ends from across the league in to work on their craft, share some stories. And of course, Tim Tebow did not get invited. So everyone was like, oh, how did Tim Tebow not get an invite to tight end U? It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, Isabel Gonzalez joining me this morning. You know why Tim Tebow didn't get an invite? Because he's not a tight end. We get it. You're trying. You're trying something different. But at this point in time, you didn't play in college. Never played in NFL. You're at OTAs catching passes and no one is trying to take your head off. Of course, you're not going to get invited. And it's ridiculous that George Kittle had to even talk about it. But he said this, quote, if I can't invite every tight end, how do I not invite a second or third string guy on a team that's been playing tight end since he was 18 years old in high school? Nothing against Tim Tebow. I hope that he has incredible success this year. I hope he has 10 touchdowns. I hope he has a great year. But it's hard for me to invite someone to this that just started playing the position when I can't invite a guy that's been playing it for 8 to 10 years. That's just hard for me. End quote. We get it, George. You don't need to explain it. But with it being Tim Tebow, it's going to get the headlines. It's going to get the attention. Tim Tebow is a tight end not due to talent, but because of circumstances. And I get it. We all take advantage of what we can, who we know. His BFF, Urban Meyer's head coach. That is why Tim Tebow is playing tight end for now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But it's no surprise that he didn't get invited to tight end you. Don't worry about it, George Kittle. No one's going to blame you for not inviting Tim Tebow. But we get it. You ain't a tight end. You're not getting invited to an offseason camp. But that is the celebrity. That is the buzz that Tim Tebow brings, where, of course, that's going to be a question that comes up for those guys.
Honestly, I agree with everything you said because, yes, it's Tim Tebow. Everyone knows who he is, right? But he still has to earn it. And I agree with what he said. You know, someone who's a backup tight end, like, they probably deserve it more because that's the position they've been playing all their life. So maybe Tim Tebow will become a good tight end. Who knows? But he hasn't proven himself yet. So maybe it's better for him, not to get everything right away, to actually work for it.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with Tim Tebow is I know he's working hard, right? You see that he puts in. I believe that he's not doing this just for show, that he wants to do it, but because of who he is, he's getting opportunities unlike other people. Like I said, I get it, but he's not going to get invited to quote unquote tight end you when you haven't even played tight end in a preseason football game at this point in time. And especially for Tim Tebow, it's just about fitting in for that locker room, because you know that he's still getting the side eye. Even if he is a good dude and a good teammate, there's still going to be that aura of, well, this dude's only here because of Urban Meyer. Is he really going to earn it? So to that point, what you said, like, he's got to win that locker room, actually show he deserves to be there before thinking that Travis Kelce and George Kittle are going to want to share tips with Tim Tebow. The best in the game aren't quite ready to welcome in Tim Tebow when the dude hasn't even played a game at an NFL level, an exhibition game at tight end. The guy has not lined up across from someone. It's totally different taking a snap as a quarterback and then running downfield. Now you got to line up there on the line of scrimmage, staring across at Khalil Mack, Von Miller, or one of these dudes running downhill at you. And I don't care how many bicep curls you do, Tim Tebow, that's a different world.
No, it really is, and you're right. It's going to be how he reacts to this, I think, and how his attitude is next season, as well as how he performs. That's going to win his teammates over. That's going to prove that, like, I agree, he is working hard. He's not just doing this for show, but it is going to come down to how seriously are they going to take him at that position. So he has a lot of work to do there, and that's okay. I think maybe it'll be a more fun sort of challenge, like, I got to prove myself. I got to make sure everyone in the locker room knows that I can compete with them too.
It is an added pressure for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, and this is one thing that people have talked about, is bringing in Tim Tebow. They're like, oh, maybe it takes pressure off Trevor Lawrence. I want pressure to be on Trevor Lawrence. I want him to come in and deal with the challenges of being a number one overall pick, the face of a franchise. Because Trevor Lawrence is a guy that we look at and we think he's going to be great. He's one guy that we're already placing those kind of expectations on, that he is going to be a great player in this league. But you already have Urban Meyer doing so much before he's done anything as well. And I think that's the challenge for the Jaguars. Yes, we're talking about Tim Tebow fitting in, winning the players over, but the same thing can be said for Urban Meyer. Because it's one thing to do it in college. Those college championships, they don't mean anything when you get to the NFL. Because what does the NFL stand for? One of the many things, not for long. Like, you got to earn it. And Urban Meyer is kind of in that same position where people aren't just going to take his word just because he won some championships in college.
Yeah, honestly, sometimes fans get a little too excited about someone from college. It doesn't have to be just football. Honestly, it could be any sport. They're like, this guy's a star. He's going to do so well at the next level. And that's not always the case, because it is a whole new level. It's a whole new environment. So you just never know. We always look at, like, who was a bust, who surprised us, who actually met expectations. So it's always a surprise. No matter what player you're looking at, it's always going to be like that.
2460610, the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Jared, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Jared?
Yo, he's coming back so he can get his pension in the NFL. I mean, and that's a fact. I mean, I can't say it's a fact. I don't have him on my contacts on my phone. But why would he not? And then, oh, by the way, once he comes back and he's getting that, whatever you want to call it, that legend list, getting the pension because he played X amount of games, he can do things like work in the NFL front office. People, connect the dots, man. He's not coming back to catch footballs and run down the field. Why is he going to do that? All he's got to do is sit on the bench for 4 games, and he's set, man. I know he's already got cash in the bank, but why not get a pension and why not get on the list to get a front office job? Maybe as a coach, connect the dots. Maybe as a coach next year with Urban Meyer, not a player. Total possibility. Just saying. Think about it.
All right, Jared, and that is something that's gonna be on everyone's mind, is that pension talk. But you don't need to get the pension to be a coach. Like, if Tim Tebow wanted to coach, he could be brought in to work on that staff right now. He doesn't necessarily have the pension to then also get into the front office. But here's the thing. If Tim Tebow only plays 4 or 5 games and then says, I'm done, it's going to look worse on him, because that's been something people have talked about, is Tim Tebow only needs 3 games on an active NFL roster to get that NFL pension. And you hear from former athletes, yeah, it's not the biggest thing ever, but it is something, and it's there for the rest of your life. And so there's just so many storylines, and that's why I just keep going back to, how does this benefit the Jaguars? How does this make the team better when it's Tim Tebow has never played tight end? Does he deserve this opportunity? Oh, but is he just there for his pension? Oh, what's his relationship with, like, Urban Meyer? Like, it's hard to see how the Jaguars are a better team with all these storylines.
I mean, they definitely get talked about a lot.
We're talking about them.
That's good. Yeah,
So they're winning. That was the whole point. Urban Meyer just wanted the offseason buzz. So we'll talk about the Jaguars and Tim Tebow while he's back there scheming to take over the NFL. You don't need to scheme to get it done yourself. And I'm talking about your health and fitness. Just 45 minutes. You can find a way to put in the time, and maybe sooner rather than later, you can get yourself looking like Tim Tebow. F45 training, full body functional fitness in just 45 minutes. You're like, what does full body functional fitness mean? Well, what it means is you're going to be doing various exercises, engaging all aspects. We're talking from shoulders all the way down to your legs in 45-minute workouts. And what I love about F45 training, the high-intensity workouts, is it's not just 45 minutes of being on a bike or a rower or a treadmill. Like, I can't do that, but I want that cardio. I want that heart rate to be raised, and you can do that with full body functional fitness, pushing weights and body weight exercises. They combine it all to a fantastic program, which is going to have different focuses each day you go. So check them out at f45training.com. Download the F45 app today so you can see what the classes are all about, what you're going to be doing. Look at the schedule of classes. They are available 7 days a week. Sign up for your 7-day free trial. Get in the gym and get going, and you're going to realize you can get a lot done in just 45 minutes. So you can get that invite to Tight End You next time when they run it next season. So check them out at f45training.com. Download the F45 app today. Team training, life-changing. I'll see you at F45.
Here's a 1-2. That's lifted, well hit into the gap. This might clear the bases. It's going to bounce off the wall, and it will clear the bases. A bases clearing double off the bat of Nico Barella. Got the glove on it. Squeezes for a second. That's tapped on the ground. Might be academic. They'll flip it to first in time for the double play ball. Huge lead. There's the pitch. It's low. Runner going on a delayed steal, and he's going to be out at second. One-two. The runner moving. It's pulled down the line. This might be trouble, and it's a fair ball. Sandoval coming around. Coach Pineda going to send him to the plate. Here comes the tying run, and he scores. Sandoval. The throw gets away. Cooper will go to second base, and we're all tied at 6 as Sandoval scampers in.
Hit so far. That ball is driven deep to right center field, and it's gone. Second home run of the inning for the Cougars. They've got 5 runs in, and Siembieda has come roaring back here at the top of the 3rd inning. 2-run home run for Jalen Montez.
Long look in. There's a pitch. That's in the air. In shallow right. Very aggressive is Gerard Pineda. Well, the play at the plate. Oh, what a hose in right. The ball was waiting for him as he came home, and he was dead to rights. 2-2, nobody out. 2 runs in. There's the pitch, and that's up the middle. No, right to Francois. Back to second for a double play. That's a good play by Francois. And 0-1 to Araceli Morales. There's the pitch. Morales swings, hit to Vela. What a catch by Vela in right field. Vela coming to her, running to her left and diving.
This one swing, it's going to go straight. Let's see if it falls, and it looks like the catch was made, and indeed it was for the third out. Sprawling was Kayla Reed for the third out. What a play. Garcia prepares, deals, and she swings it. This one looks ding dong doink. Yabba dabba doo. Grand slam by Mia Flores. Four ribbies for Mia as she just unleashed on that softball.
DCE Systems want to help schools reopen and keep the students, teachers, and staff safe. We can also help every business reopen and keep their employees and customers safe as well. Don't just disinfect. Novalent antimicrobial technology provides ongoing residual protection against bacteria and viruses and is proven to last up to 90 days. That's right, up to 90 days. Call us today at 505-507-7722 or go to DCESystemsInc.com to learn more. DCE Systems are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Datacom is the manufacturer's representative for the states of Arizona and New Mexico. Datacom represents Fuji Electric for uninterruptible power systems and Layer Zero for static switches and power distribution units. High-Tech Power Protection manufactures dynamic rotary UPS systems up to 3.6 megawatts, individual and 100 megawatts by combining multiple units. Call Louis Ruffin today at 505-507-7722 or go to datacom.com to learn more.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
The Enchantment. Get to know the Enchantment, the TBT New Mexico squad. We were talking with Brandon Mason yesterday, the GM, who helped get the ball rolling as we see the final roster. Of course, we got Kenny Thomas at head coach. Shout out to Ryan Berryman, who's been helping out a lot. As we look forward to the All-Star game, July 11th at the Pit, where the TBT squad will be playing some other alumni to get ready for their opening round game, which will be July 16th. They're going to be in Wichita, part of that regional. They'll be taking on the Stillwater Stars, which is comprised mainly of Oklahoma State alumni, in the basketball tournament. And what is the basketball tournament? If you don't know, it's a winner-take-all tournament, 64 teams playing to take home $1 million. It's broadcast on ESPN. It's something that's really taken off over the last few years. And what's fun about it is we're seeing more and more alumni teams. So you bring in those fan bases, but it's a lot of good players that you might have forgotten about because they went and played overseas. And so the majority of these teams, there's no NBA guys. There's former NBA guys on it. We're talking about guys that have been playing overseas, alumni squads getting back together to put on a fantastic product. And finally, we get a little New Mexico representation with the Enchantment squad. Now, I know some people are bummed because a couple of the big names initially announced, Kendall Williams and Alex Kirk, just unavailable to play with their schedules. Of course, Alex still playing in Japan, and that is the challenge of the tournament because even these guys that are playing overseas, getting it to match up with their season, what their current contract or the contract they're trying to get. Man, there are so many moving pieces to this, but the tournament is here. There's a New Mexico team in it, and I am so excited for this because I've been waiting for quite some time. But I think it is going to be a little bit of a wake-up call. Yes, there's a ton of excitement for this New Mexico roster, and I'm really interested in what Coach Giddens has left because there's no doubt about it. Yes, Coach Giddens now what he's doing at Northern New Mexico coaching the women's basketball team, but J.R. Giddens, he's still in the gym. He's still putting in work, but he's going to be the savvy veteran on this squad. The other names, Drew Gordon, Darrington Hobson, Antno Jackson, Anthony Mathis, Philip McDonald, Pancake Thomas, Tim Williams, and then rounding it out, Michael Holyfield, who played at Monsanto High School here locally, then Sam Houston State collegiately, and the mature Maker, 6'11" forward from Australia, whose connections to Brandon Mason on the team. I'm super excited about this, Isabel, and I know this is something that you've been following and looking forward to as well.
Oh, for sure. I was helping Mason initially with that first sort of like breaking the news sort of thing. With Delaire, we partner up, and I ended up doing some interviews with the players and just putting a video together. So I've been excited for a long time. Like, it was hard to keep the secret because I knew fans were gonna love this, and I was loving it already, like from the very start. But I agree that other teams are also gonna have their alumni. They are gonna be very good. So Lobo fans are very passionate, and of course, you remember your favorite former players in the best possible way. But you also have to consider that other schools also have their starred former players. But it's going to be fun. I'm hoping to win at least a couple games because they're going to have amazing support from New Mexico.
Yeah, it's going to be a great thing this summer to follow for Lobo basketball fans and just basketball fans in general. And there's going to be some familiar names as well as when you look at what we see from New Mexico State. There's a couple players that are balling as well. Elijah Brown. They're two different players. Elijah Brown locked in with an Oregon alumni team. Corey Manigault will be playing for the B1 Ballers. And you got Zane Martin, of course, transferred this past year. He's going to be playing for the NG Saints. It's a team that has a lot of Philadelphia area high schoolers on the squad. And, of course, Cody Toppert, Albuquerque Academy graduate, now assistant coach at Memphis. He coaches Eberline Drive. They're the number 1 seed in that bracket that the Enchantment are playing in. So whoever wins the 8-9 matchup between the Enchantment and Stillwater Stars, you would assume, if things hold form, would see Cody Toppert, who's the coach of Eberline Drive. So we'll dive more into this coming up next hour, including some players who you'd like to see in the future representing New Mexico, or Aggie fans, you can get in as well. What would your tournament team look like for New Mexico State? We'll get that rolling. Coming up next, though, we'll catch up with Sebastian Noel. ProView Network's state baseball and softball tournaments began yesterday. Some huge results in just the first round. We had golf state tournament wrapping up on Monday, track and field coming to an end, and of course the Duke City Gladiators. Get you covered. Sebastian Noel next. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Dream style roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right. Put a smile on your face. There at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Here at Legacy, we are here to disciple people by helping them connect with God, grow in relationships, and live generously.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
A rogue virus, no jobs, sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green and keep the community. Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. This is the opening drive with 2-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and JJ Bach.
Well, it is not slowing down. We knew it was going to be different, but boy, oh boy, the high school athletes continue to put on a show to the very end, whether it's track and field, the work they're putting in. It's 100 degrees outside, and those boys and girls are still running for that state title. We saw golf be condensed to 1 day, but in a pressure situation, all those high school athletes responding. And then yesterday with baseball and softball tournaments getting underway, one coach said don't call it an upset, but it absolutely was an upset in state baseball. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal. JJ Buck joined by Isabel Gonzalez this morning. Bobcat behind the glass, and it's Wednesday. It's 9 a.m. So we catch up with our good friend Sebastian Noel, ProView Network. Sebastian, what is up, man? How are you?
Hey, it's good to talk to you guys, man. What a crazy day yesterday was.
It was insane, and we got to start with the headline and a streak that was snapped, a 23-game win streak going in to the tournament for Rio Rancho and Oñate, a 1-0 victory in 9 innings. What a contest.
Yeah, I mean, I got to watch the last 5 innings of that on TV there, and it was, I mean, that's the way Rio Rancho, if Rio Rancho was going to lose a game, it's going to be a game like that, you know, a 1-0 where a pitcher's going. You know, we talked about it a couple weeks in a row. You know, their lineup's steady, but they don't really have a big power bat. And but it is a huge upset. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Yeah, and Ron Murphy, you know, his quote in the paper after the game, he said, upset. An 8 seed, I said yesterday, all 8 teams could win this thing. Well, you're given credit, but that absolutely is an upset. And for Oñate, it's got to feel fantastic, you know, to knock out Rio Rancho. And you look at this specific Rams squad, you know, Sebastian, are they going to bring back players to make another run, or are they going to have to restart next year?
Well, Ron Murphy's teams don't ever have to restart. They just reload. They're ready. They do lose a lot of seniors off that team. So, I mean, it'll be something to watch. But, I mean, that's a program that's really good at all 3 levels. So I don't ever see them having an off season, I'll tell you that. But, you know, it's funny. Somebody at the game I was doing was talking about the old best-of-3 series, right, that they usually do during a regular year. Well, then, you know, the reason they started the best-of-3, JJ, I know you're a young whippersnapper. This was way before your time, I think. But it was so a team, the lower-seeded team, couldn't just come in with an ace pitcher and beat the really good team. That's what was happening a lot in the first round, and that's why they instituted best-of-3. Of course, this wouldn't have been the first round. This would have been the second round already.
Yeah, and this year it was always going to be a little bit different, but it still stings the same for Rio Rancho. So a huge win for Oñate. And the teams that we were talking really the most about throughout the season, it felt like, of course, Rio Rancho, but then we'd be talking about Siembieda, and they were tested as well right out the gate as Rio Grande, the 6th seed, pushed them, but in 8 innings, an 8-7 victory for Siembieda.
Yeah, I was able to drive over to watch the last inning of that game in person. I had just finished up my La Cueva broadcast, drove over there, watched the game winner. You knew that was going to be a tight game. They played earlier in the season. They played twice, actually. And Coach Fernando said, hey, we had some really good at-bats against Jacob Kamat. You know, I think my guys feel like they can hit this guy. And, you know, for most of the game, they weren't really hitting him. They were down to their last 2 outs when they scored 5 runs, including a 3-run homer. So, I mean, that was a really exciting game as well.
Yeah, so Siembieda will now play at number 2 Hobbs on Thursday, so they hit the road. What do you know much about that Hobbs team? What should they expect from them?
It's a good team. I mean, it's the middle of the lineup. There's a couple of places you can go to in that lineup to get some easy outs, but the middle of their lineup's really good. You know, now the state tournament has officially started because everyone's thrown their ace. So now who's got pitching depth? Now we'll see, right? So, again, it's always so hard to predict state baseball, especially after everyone's thrown their ace.
Hey, Sebastian, so, you know, with that number 1 seed being out now, who do you think is going to win? Or who do you think is the one to watch right now?
Man, you know, I've been talking about La Cueva, Isabel, all year and how potent their lineup is, but their pitching depth is so bad. I mean, they just don't have the arms. I mean, so it's hard for me to pick La Cueva. I think this opens the door for Siembieda now. Siembieda's big question is going to be, you know, they have 3 arms. Do they throw their number 2 starter against Hobbs, or do they save him, Romero, in case they make it to the championship? I mean, you never want to, you know, have your next best available pitcher not throw an inning, and then you're out of the tournament. But, I mean, if I had to pick someone now, it would be between those 2, but I'm really having trouble picking one.
Sebastian Noel, ProView Networks, joining us here on the opening drive. And let's get into that game, which you were on the call for, number 4, La Cueva number 5 at Cleveland. It was a 10-4 victory for the Bears. And also there's a lot of emotion around that game. You look at Bears, they were without their head coach, Gerard Pineda. His wife, Bridget, was having kidney transplant surgery over the weekend. I did not know that until I read it in the story this morning. So that was a team that was dealing with a lot in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Gerard was out of town, so they were in very capable hands with Coach McGaha and Coach Gracie. But so obviously heavy hearts. Everyone at the stadium there was wearing some green ribbons, making donations, things like that. It was a 4-0 Cleveland start, and but I just kept telling my broadcast partner, I said, it's coming. La Cueva, it's coming. They're going to have that big inning. Turning point of the game. There's a base hit to right field, and Noah Morlock, the right fielder, throws out what would have been the 5th run at home plate. The base runner just barrels into the La Cueva catcher, David Cooper, which, by the way, in high school is illegal, so that base runner should have been ejected. They did not eject him, but I think that really rallied La Cueva. You saw, the entire La Cueva dugout was out on the field, ready to go, and I think that really galvanized them. The next inning, they explode for 6 runs. And it was no turning back at that point. And the great pitching performance from their ace, Grayson Long. He gave up those 4 runs, but he goes the distance and he strikes out 10.
So Añate will be at La Cueva on Thursday. That will be 4 o'clock. So your semifinals, Añate at La Cueva, then Sandia at Hobbs for your 5A state baseball. Talking with Sebastian Noel from ProView Networks joining us here on the opening drive. And, of course, Sebastian, we got to talk a little Duke City Gladiators. Arizona Rattlers came to town. We knew it was going to be a tough one, and the Rattlers ended up getting the Gladiators last weekend 51-36.
Yeah, it was 23-22 at half. Really, the Gladiators should have had a lead. There was a late touchdown, or a touchdown late in that half that was called back. After a review, they called a bobble, which we didn't see on any of the replays. And then the second half, it's almost as if the Rattlers woke up, and in the second half, they just put it on them. I'll tell you what, I was out there about an hour and a half before the game when the Rattlers were on the field warming up, and they were talking some junk, JJ. They were talking about coming in here, this is going to be a scrimmage to them, all that kind of noise. So I think they were believing some of that in the first half, took the Gladiators lightly, and I'm sure Coach Guy just ripped into them at half. And in the second half, they just made all the adjustments and ran away.
Yeah, this weekend, Duke City Gladiators looking to bounce back against the Frisco Fighters. Now, you look at the game against the Rattlers, Nate Davis had himself a solid day. What do you think Duke City takes from that second half that they can use moving forward to be more prepared for those type of teams?
Well, I think the offense has to incorporate some kind of running game. They have to find some kind of running game. Absolutely no balance right now. It's all through the air. So I think that has been a glaring need since almost opening week. I think the defense has made some strides, but this is a tough league. This was never going to be a cakewalk. They have to play well to win, and I think they have to balance out that offense.
Well, they're showing that they compete, and they're learning every single week. Sebastian, as always, my man, appreciate your time, all the work that you're doing on ProView Networks. What do you got coming up next high school-wise?
Well, I'll be at La Cueva on Thursday. Hey, the biggest upset was on Monday, JJ, when our Cibola Aiden Kraft, he didn't win state golf. That was the biggest upset. He shot a 60, 11 under in the last round of the city tournament last year as a freshman. Beat out some Lobos. Well, he ended up shooting 1 under, and that was only good enough for a tie for third. That's the biggest upset of the week. Aiden Kraft not winning state golf.
Yeah, I wanted to give my Cibola alum a moment. He's going to be coming on strong. Still believe in you, but you're absolutely right, man. The 18 holes really changed the game. It was much different for these players on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's so, 1 under. I can only dream what par is like, so I don't know.
Man, I'm feeling good if I can get a par on any hole, let alone what these high school golfers can already do. But Sebastian, as always, man, appreciate the time, and we'll keep checking out on ProView Networks.
All right, guys, be good.
That is Sebastian Noel. Some really good stuff. And that's the thing with state baseball and softball. It was going to be a little bit different. Instead of the usual series it is single elimination, already seeing the 1 seed go down, and you never know what can happen in those type of situations.
Oh, props to them. Honestly, it's been like a very weird year, so I'm sure they're excited to get back on just playing, but wow, good for them. I've never hit a baseball before, so.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Major League Baseball. Well, here you go, high school baseball. Ball, throw it, see ball, hit ball. There you go, some great action across the state, and of course, the state softball tournament as well. Tons of results to get to from that. Isabel Gonzalez joining me in studio. Bobcat behind the glass taking your phone calls, 246-0610. JJ Buck with you. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Dirty green as well. Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment. You trash it, we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Next in line.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspets.com.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Car Crafters is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Drive, Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Micah, Josh produces for you today over on the ProView Network side, where you can watch the show worldwide on ProViewNetworks.com or statewide on Comcast Channel 26.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show.
Good morning. Welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26.
Welcome to The Point with Nick Rich.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 10, America Talking Out.
I'm Pastor Flora Padilla of Mending Broken Hearts.
Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live, Comcast 26, and Big Bad ProView Network.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Welcome to Local Focus with Sebastian Noel.
Welcome, sports fans. It's that time of the week again. You are watching the Weekly Rundown.
Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network.
Hello, I'm Steve Davis. You are watching Public Access TV.
Here's a 1-2. That's lifted well hit into the gap. This might clear the bases. It's going to bounce off the wall, and it will clear the bases. A bases clearing double.
What I like about the tournament is it actually brings back to life some of those college athletes that y'all love so fondly. And you can go, oh, this guy still has it. If you look at last year's tournament and the Marshall alumni team, the Elmore brothers, we're talking about a dude that might have had a few pounds and might have been balding, but he still went out there and balled, and they made a huge impact in the tournament. And now New Mexico fans have a connection to the basketball tournament. The Enchantment, the New Mexico alumni team, participating in the 64-team field this summer. Of course, we got the All-Star event coming up July 11th at the Pit, which is going to be the TBT team playing an alumni squad kind of as their warm-up ahead of the tournament. We got Kenny Thomas involved as the head coach. You got Brandon Mason helping putting this team together, and you're looking at it, Darrington Hobson, a Philip McDonald, Drew Gordon, guys that bring back so many good memories from the last 10 years, but there's still so many more players that could be out there. Who would you like to see on a TBT roster, and especially for New Mexico State, because there are plenty of Aggie players that could get together to put together a very competitive squad. Now, you're going to see Jamario Jones. He's going to be playing for Armored Athletes. Troy Gillenwater for Team Hines. But those guys are sprinkled all about. And I don't know. Maybe it does get to a point where a Lobo and Aggie TBT team would combine to maybe make a legitimate run at $1 million. But right now it's a little bit more Lobo focused for the Enchantment squad, and we'll see how they do in their opening round matchup against the Stillwater Stars. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by Isabel Gonzalez. Bobcat taking your calls. 246-0610 is Equan's Auto Care hotline. We got the NMDOT text line, which is 505-246-0610. Already, though, Isabel, you're dropping some names that got me excited about TBT. Now, we haven't even seen this team on the floor, but we can think ahead. We can think back of who can still play. They got to be able to ball. That's the thing. Yeah, we could throw out Kenny Thomas and Michael Cooper. You'd love to see that. But we're talking about dudes that still might have just a little bit left in the tank. Who would you like to see?
That's right. JJ and I are already planning next year's team. So I do have a couple guys. I don't know how realistic, but I would love to see Hugh Greenwood get back to basketball. He was a huge crowd favorite, of course. Everyone loved him. Everyone still loves him. So that would be really, really fun. Sam Logwood, I think he just brings in a lot of intensity and energy. And I remember Paul Weir was talking about him one time when he was highlighting the players that have stood out to him the most. And he said Sam Logwood has that motor. He's that guy that just brings it all on the court, leaves it there. He would be a great addition for that. Dane Kuiper would be really fun to see playing with Anthony Mathis. They're best friends, or at least they were, when they were playing here. That would be just lots of fun overall with this personality. Kind of disappointed Alex Kirk's not playing, to be honest. I was looking forward to that.
I hope we get to see Kirk on this roster within the next year or two. He just had some commitments, unfortunately, still back in Japan, which made him unavailable for this tournament. Same thing goes for Kendall Williams, as he was a name on the roster, but unfortunately some things came up because that's the challenges. You still have guys playing overseas, just wrapping up their seasons. DeAndre Lansam was someone that they were really looking forward to having a veteran presence on this team, but he's playing overseas in Italy. Their playoffs extended and thus didn't have him available. Another name, Cameron Bairstow.
Yeah.
And now Bairstow is kind of the last few, was it 3-4 years ago now, when he was put the kind of initial alumni game together. But him on a TBT roster, I think would be fantastic because you're like, all right, who are those dudes that could still play? I absolutely love you bringing up Hugh Greenwood because he can still play basketball. He's there playing Australian rules football, so he's in shape. The dude is ready to go. But this would be kind of the perfect area for him to get back to the game where he's not making a professional commitment, so that wouldn't affect what he's doing. But to see him back out there, I agree with you. I think that'd be fantastic. And then if you could get But we're not, because NBA players don't participate in this. So that's the thing. So Tony Snell is off the table because he's in the Eastern Conference Finals with the Atlanta Hawks. But Cameron Bairstow, Philip McDonald, Drew Gordon, Kendall Williams, and then Alex Kirk. The good old days, you're running it back.
Great. And, when Tony Snell decides he's not going to be in the NBA anymore, I would love to see him on this team. And I would love to have Michael Cooper coach that. I know he was pretty close to doing it. Nothing against Kenny Thomas. I think he'll do a great job. But I was definitely excited about seeing Michael Cooper. I'm like, do I get to interview Michael Cooper? Hopefully.
Yeah, this isn't just a great way to get the fans involved, your alumni back together. I can definitely see Coop being a piece of this in the future. Because here's the thing. Like TBT, it's kind of throwback basketball. It's like y'all show up at the gym and go. Yeah, you're running some sets, but this is just like who meshes together quickly. Because Kenny Thomas, now talking with Brandon Mason yesterday, he said that Kenny is already like throwing sets at him and ideas. But this isn't necessarily like, we're not talking Monty Williams versus Ty Lue level of coaching. Like Kenny's going to kind of just be there managing some minutes and helping the guys when it comes to, all right, well, I'll take a timeout here. Let's throw you in the game. But it's more about just coming together in kind of just like pure basketball sense of, it's kind of just like dudes showing up at the gym and who can run the court for the longest.
And that's literally how it is, because a lot of the guys are going to get there on July 9th, but they might not even work out together on the 9th. They might do it on the 10th. So think about how much practice time it gives them together. They've been planning this for a while, but when it comes to actually being on the court at the same time, it's not going to be that much. So I think that's what makes the TBT interesting. You don't really know what you're going to get from anybody.
Yeah, and of course, here's one from Fred listening. What's up, Fred? Devin Williams brings him up. He's still playing for the Bull Snakes, and it's good to see Devin Williams still out there playing basketball. He's absolutely a name you could throw out there, just get the opportunity to see. Of course, remember how his collegiate career ended. It was just so scary, the uncertainty at the time. But it's great to see what Devin Williams is doing, man. I know that dude's doing so much in the community. And there's another name, and that's what I love about the TBT, is it's just fun. Like if your team loses, you're not sitting there saying, all right, who's fired, who's a failure, who didn't live up to expectations. Like it's just pure basketball. It's fun. You're like, oh man, all right, let's get ready for next season. Because what did you lose? You lost out on an opportunity to win $1 million, which hurts, but it's just pure basketball. And the way you said it, like the dudes are showing up like a few days before and just seeing who can ball. So there's a lot of fantastic names. And I know Aggie fans, for y'all could have a fantastic team. Y'all could put together a pretty good Aggie alumni team. We see Jamario Jones is participating. Troy Gillenwater is playing. What about Daniel Mullings? What's he up to? Mullings could be very interesting. Maybe a Chili Napalway. Yeah, I'm throwing out some names for you. But Aggie fans, I'd love to hear from you as well. What TBT team would look like for New Mexico State? Because the state of New Mexico finally on the board with the enchantment. But there's no doubt the talent of alumni could put together quite the run in the basketball tournament. Some great names there thrown out. I love Isabel going, Hugh Greenwood. Love that one. Definitely want to see him back on the court. But that's just a credit to Hugh just being a really great athlete, being able to make that transition to Aussie rules football. But I know that's something that meant a lot to him to go back home and play that after his collegiate career. So you can get into 460-610 is Equan's Auto Care hotline. The NMDOT text line is 505-246-0610. If you want to send an email, it's jj@sportsanimalabq. Get your TBT thoughts in. We come back on the other side. Conference finals time. What a game it was last night, and all the pressure on one player in Milwaukee. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Off the bat of Nico Barella. Got the glove on it. Squeezes for a second. That's tapped on the ground. Might be academic. They'll flip it to first in time for the double play ball. Huge lead. There's the pitch. It's low. Runner going on a delayed steal, and he's going to be out at second. 1-2. The runner moving. It's pulled down the line. This might be trouble, and it's a fair ball. Sandoval coming around. Coach Pineda going to send him to the plate. Here comes the tying run, and he scores. Sandoval. The throw gets away. Cooper will go to second base, and we're all tied at 6 as Sandoval scampers in.
Hit so far. That ball is driven deep to right center field, and it's gone. Second home run of the inning for the Cougars. They've got 5 runs in, and Siembieda has come roaring back here at the top of the 3rd inning. 2-run home run for Jalen Montez.
Long look in. There's a pitch. That's in the air. In shallow right. Very aggressive as Gerard Pineda will have a play at the plate. Oh, what a hose in right. The ball was waiting for him as he came home, and he was dead to rights.
2-2, nobody out. 2 runs in. There's the pitch, and that's up the middle. No, right to Francois. Back to second for a double play. That's a good play by Francois. 0-1 to Araceli Morales. There's the pitch. Morales swings, hit to Vela. What a catch by Vela in right field. Vela coming to her, running to her left and diving.
This one swing, it's going to go straight. Let's see if it falls, and it looks like the catch was made, and indeed it was for the 3rd out. Sprawling was Kayla Reed for the 3rd out. What a play. Garcia prepares, deals, and she swings it. This one looks ding dong doink. Yabba dabba doo. Grand slam by Mia Flores. Four ribbies for Mia as she just unleashed on that softball.
DCE Systems want to help schools reopen and keep the students, teachers, and staff safe. We can also help every business reopen and keep their employees and customers safe as well. Don't just disinfect. Novalent antimicrobial technology provides ongoing residual protection against bacteria and viruses and is proven to last up to 90 days. That's right, up to 90 days. Call us today at 505-507-7722 or go to DCE Systems.
And the Milwaukee Bucks take the court tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. Nothing to lose for ATL, everything to lose for Giannis and Milwaukee. But these opportunities, they don't come around very often. And so while it's easy to think, hey, a young Hawks team could be back in this situation, not so fast, my friends. I recall the NBA Finals where the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Miami Heat. And I was watching that going, man, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden up against Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh. We're going to see this at least 2 or 3 more times. Nope. OKC never got back. James Harden went to Houston, and the rest was history for the Miami Heat. So these moments, these opportunities, Atlanta living the dream, but a chance to take out the Milwaukee Bucks. So all the pressure right now in the NBA playoffs is on the shoulders of Giannis Antetokounmpo, the 2-time MVP. His team should be favorites. Everyone should be picking Milwaukee, but yet there's a little bit of hesitation. There's a doubt. Yes, Kevin Durant, I think, is the best player on the planet. And he was centimeters away from sending them home in Game 7. It just sent it into overtime. So are you ready to believe and trust in Giannis? Because this is their opportunity. Yes, the Hawks are a great story, but Milwaukee should win this series. They should be in the NBA Finals. And a player the caliber of Giannis, should take over. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by Isabel Gonzalez this morning. Bobcat, back behind the glass, taking your calls. 246-0610 is the Quan's Auto Care hotline. And we're seeing in the Western Conference Finals, Devin Booker, Paul George respond without their number 2. Well, here it's Giannis and Trae Young. There's no questions about everyone else. We know what the lineups are going to be. We're going to roll it out there. When you look at the Eastern Conference Finals, what way are you leaning?
I mean, I think the Bucks are probably going to win it. What I do find interesting is that, well, I feel like we do this every year, but fans and media, we're always looking for like that one guy to have like the storyline around. LeBron James was out with the Lakers. That's done. Then we focused on KD. And then there were, everyone was asking like, what about Chris Paul? But I mean, right now he hopefully will get back soon. But you're right. It's all about Giannis right now. And it's been kind of like passing along, like, okay, who's the next star we're going to focus on? And now it's on him, and it is a lot of pressure. A lot of predictions are saying, of course, Bucks, like maybe in 5. I hope to see a little bit more from the Hawks. I hope they at least do like 6 games. 7 would be amazing. And they've surprised us all season. Let's be honest here. They surprised us in the playoffs. I think with the Knicks, we knew that the Hawks were probably the better team. With the 76ers, that was a little bit more of a surprise. But they could pull it off. It is all around like Trae Young. But at the same time, interesting stat, John Collins, in the playoffs, in the 3 games he scored in single digits, the Hawks lost. So he is going to be a big, he's going to make an impact in that team. Like not only is he going to be guarding Giannis, but if he scores, the Hawks have a little bit more of a chance.
Yeah, that's a challenge for John Collins. He's going to have to be aggressive both offensively and defensively because it's going to take a lot of energy just to give Giannis a different look. And we're talking players of that caliber, Kevin Durant, Giannis. You're not going to slow them down, but can you make their life a little bit difficult? What did PJ Tucker do to Kevin Durant? Well, the last 3 games, Kevin Durant averaged 43 points per game. So it kind of seems like PJ Tucker didn't do anything. But it's those few possessions that you get late into a contest when it's a tight game that you're trying to steal it. Absolutely. Can you make life difficult, especially for Giannis? What is his confidence level going to be like with the basketball in those final minutes? Is he going to be confident enough to attack the basket in a late game situation and step to the free throw line? Now, I do like the way Giannis responded to end the series against the Nets, especially going back to game 6 because he didn't settle. He took 0 3-point shots. And Milwaukee is a team, they have some shooters, but they are so much better when they are attacking, going downhill, and then opening up. So if we get that Giannis, I'm in on the Milwaukee Bucks, and I do think they win this series. But there's just something about Trae Young, and you just mentioned it, just the confidence that he oozes consistently, and that team just follows him. That team believes in him no matter what. And we saw that in Game 7 against Philadelphia. 2460610 is the Quan's Auto Care hotline. Terry, you're on the opening drive. What's going on, Terry?
Good morning, JJ. Good morning, Isabel. Having a good show. I missed a little bit of the show, but I'll go ahead and progress. It's tough when you have to tell your wife, hey, can you leave me alone for an hour? I got to watch the last 2 minutes of a playoff game. Things drag out. I think at the end you should have 60 seconds to put the players back on, and if you try to scam and change players when you can't, then it should be a tech for each wrong guy on the court because that, they were trying to everybody just fake it out and change the lineup. And one thing that I guess I'm an old man, get off the lawn, is when the ball's tipped out, yes, it's technically off one player, and I didn't have a dog in the fight. But, for 58 minutes, if the defender slaps at the ball, they're always going to, give it to the offensive team. So, from that standpoint, yes, rules are rules. But one thing I wanted to bring up was, I didn't know the only controversy would be about the women's Olympic team for basketball. I cannot pronounce the young lady's name, but she's from Stanford, and she's a former MVP, and she got left off. And, you look at it and go, okay, you got to make choices. But then when you get into it and said, oh, she's hurt, but then they put Diana Taurasi on even though she's hurt, then you look at it and say there's been no Stanford players on the Olympics since 1996 for the women. And don't they have a coach that's the all-time winningest coach? So, it just kind of makes you go, huh, when they're selecting, always somebody's feelings are going to be hurt. But this one seems kind of ironic that how it happened. But thought I'd just bring up something a little different to you guys. And like I said, as always, appreciate the show. Isabel, it's nice to hear you on the show. So you guys have a great day. I'll get off and listen. Take care.
All right, Terry, I appreciate it. They are on to us. As sports fans, we could always say, oh, I'm just watching the final couple minutes of the game. Now that's going to last an hour. They're on to us now. They're catching on, sports fans. I'll be there in a second. There's only 30 seconds left in the game. Just give me a minute. I'll be there. The final 90 seconds took 33 minutes in real time. Now, that is a challenge because you want to get the calls right in the biggest situations, and things are called differently. The ball that is slapped out of a player's hand for the, as he even said, like for 58 minutes up until that point, oh, it's off the defender. The final 2 minutes, you slow it down, and then you see, oh, no, that grazed the fingertips of Devin Booker. So that is the challenge. You want to get the call right, but it also takes forever, and it also gives teams free timeouts. I don't know how you handle that in the final 2 minutes.
33 minutes. You could have a snack there.
Right.
Like, let's be honest here. It should not be lasting more than
You
a
can get
quarter.
Bob to deliver us some dinner and watch the final 90 seconds.
Exactly. You can watch a couple YouTube videos, meditate. You could take a nap. Eat and take a nap.
All in the final 90 seconds of an NBA game. Rudy, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Rudy?
Good morning. Well, random thoughts on that. First of all, who loves that are the advertisers.
Yep.
Because they got people hooked. And, yeah, you can leave the room, but you come back and they're still reviewing the play, and they're still reviewing the play. I don't know if it's made sports better or not because, there's that old saying, loser says deal. But if you're trying to get it right, then you got to go all the way, and that's why it's taken so long. I remember when I was a kid telling my mom there was only 2 minutes left in the game, before I took the trash out, and that would usually go about a half an hour. So we've been busted. We have been outed on that issue. Hey, I'm really excited for July 11th, and I hope everybody gets out there. I think tickets start at $10. If you want really expensive seats, you can pay $25 and sit in those Lobo level seats and be really cush. But it's a chance to bridge the gap and have all the ages gather together of Lobo basketball. And certainly, Lobo basketball has a storied history. And being able to, after the game, socialize with those guys, they'll be on the court. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to sign autographs for kids and adults. And just seeing Kenny back, connecting with UNM is pretty special to me because I've known Kenny since he was a junior at Albuquerque High School. And I'm glad he's coming back to this community and getting so involved. And who knows, wouldn't that be a sweet deal if those guys could pull it off and win that $1 million?
Absolutely. It'd be fantastic for them.
I mean, think about it, JJ and Isabella. They got a 1 in 64 chance, right?
Not too bad. I'll take those odds for $1 million.
For sure.
Right. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't gamble, on a 1 in 64 chance to win $1 million? Usually, I think the odds are like, I don't know, 1 in 33 million or something.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Rudy, appreciate the phone call. And, it's good timing as well with the momentum that UNM has overall through their athletic department, and to be able to bridge that gap, bring back the alumni team. But just seeing the positivity, Richard Pitino, I think it's a big moment for him, too, to just welcome all those guys in, spend some time with them off the court, kind of start building that relationship, which matters, man. The alumni have to be a part of your program. Like it so much. Yes, the fan base getting back into the pit for the first time in over a year is going to be awesome for basketball fans. But, two, for the overall program is bringing those players in, having that connection, and then what we're going to see from that is positivity. And you don't get a lot of positivity in sport, but this is one moment that it is just fun in basketball.
Honestly, that TBT team was long overdue. You have amazing fans in New Mexico, so it's great that we get to take advantage of that now. And like you said, just like the environment around Lobo Sports right now, it's pretty amazing because think about what the women's basketball team was able to accomplish in such a difficult situation. And then you have football that's also picking up a lot of buzz right now. Like, it might take a while for them to get to the level where they want to be, but I mean, Coach Gonzalez is amazing. He's all in New Mexico. And then you got Patino, who has been talking to Gonzalez a lot and who really believes in the program. And it's just a lot of new energy, new positive energy.
Ride it as long as you can, because unfortunately we know sports ends in heartbreak for everyone except one team at the end of the day. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Help schools reopen and keep the students, teachers, and staff safe. We can also help every business reopen and keep their employees and customers safe as well. Don't just disinfect. Novalent antimicrobial technology provides ongoing residual protection against bacteria and viruses and is proven to last up to 90 days. That's right, up to 90 days. Call us today at 505-507-7722 or go to dcesystemsinc.com to learn more. DCE Systems are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Datacom is the manufacturer's representative for the states of Arizona and New Mexico. Datacom represents Fuji Electric for uninterruptible power systems and Layer Zero for static switches and power distribution units. High-Tech Power Protection manufactures dynamic rotary UPS systems up to 3.6 megawatts, individual and 100 megawatts by combining multiple units. Call Louis Ruffin today at 505-507-7722 or go to datacom.com to learn more.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. There at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Here at Legacy, we are here to disciple people by helping them connect with God, grow in relationships, and live generously.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
A rogue virus, no jobs, sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your...
Well, if you follow Jeff Grammer on Twitter, which I know most of you do, I think he's the most popular media Twitter figure in Albuquerque in New Mexico. Very, very popular man. Well, he has the hashtag drink, and it comes to replays, especially when we're talking Mountain West basketball and college basketball. And he brings up, we didn't mention it when talking about the end of that Suns Clippers game. Because if you were playing the drinking game, which Jeff Grammer likes to throw out there when it comes to video reviews, you would still be passed out. You would not have awoken from your constant intake of alcohol at the end of that game.
Have we checked in on Jeff yet? Has he tweeted since then? Because I'm a little bit concerned.
So, yeah, it might be Jeff just woke up and he's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, these guys are on the radio? Because, yeah, there was a lot of monitor reviews at the end of that Suns Clippers game. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by Isabel Gonzalez. Bobcat taking your calls 246-0610. We'll see what is in store. Bruin James here on the opening drive. What's up, man? How are you?
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. What's up?
Hey, you know what? I just watch ESPN Sports Center, and I listen, and they talk about Trae Young and all that. Guarantee you guys, in 1 year, next year, you guys won't talk about the most overrated ball player in the NBA.
Paul George?
This guy, huh?
You talking about Paul George?
No, I'm talking about Trae Young. He is overrated. I mean, he is so overrated. I mean, he has more turnovers than anybody I know. So in 1 year, I guarantee you guys were like, what happened to Trae Young? Where's he at? Where'd he go?
I will
overrated.
Take that. All right. More turnovers than even Bob at the YMCA. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I can get there, Bruin James. I cannot call Trae Young overrated. I do not think that we're going to forget about Trae Young in a year. More turnovers? Yes, turnovers, because he's the point guard. He is a ball-dominant player. But do you know who's, in terms of turnovers per game, the NBA, the top 2? One, I think people would go, oh, yeah, Russell Westbrook. How about number 2? Luka Doncic. He's pretty good, right? We think Luka can ball. He's number 2. Then it's Trae Young and James Harden. So, lose me with that turnover stuff. Did he turn over the basketball? Yes, he does. But guess what? he gets the job done. I will take you up on that bet, Bruin James. I say in a year, we are still talking about Trae Young.
Honestly, yes. Like I think he's a great player. But look at his personality. He was one of like the biggest villains, I guess, at the beginning of the playoffs. He has that personality. He feeds off of fans booing him. So that's just gonna help him. I think he's gonna be an even bigger name coming like next season.
This is his moment on the big stage. He responded. He went into Madison Square Garden. We hear so much about the building. Oh, the Knicks, they got to be great. He sent them home. You had Knicks fans dancing in the streets after they won Game 2 of a first-round series. And who walked out of there victorious? It was Trae Young. Who stepped up at the end and took advantage of the 76ers collapse? It was Trae Young. So do I think Trae's ready to go to the NBA Finals? No, not quite. I'm taking Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Finals, but we have not heard the last of Trae Young. So, Bruin James, I will take you up on that bet. In a year from now, we will absolutely still be talking about Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. Now, in terms of things to talk about, had someone on Twitter asking about, did I miss any news with Richard Pitino? No. Yesterday, Richard Pitino did talk with the media, but I think it was more of a case of no news is good news at this point in time. Just kind of a state of the program update for the Lobos, coming off a couple weeks of practices, coaches hitting the road. And just, I think it's not just learning a team, but I think Richard Pitino is still trying to figure out what he exactly wants this team to be.
For sure. It's really early. He hasn't had that much time with all the guys yet. The whole team's not even there yet, to be honest. Like, not all of them. So there's a lot of questions, a lot more questions than answers right now, and that's completely okay because we are still in the middle of summer. You know, it's still June right now. But there are definitely a couple things that he's probably already thinking about, and he's mentioned, you know, the three-point shooting. He wants versatility, and we were talking about this earlier. He has sort of a plan he wants to follow. He has more or less of a style he's aiming for, which would be like that Gonzaga style. When it comes to, you know, running less sets, it's better for him. He said less is more. And for that to actually work with your team, that means you have to have players with high basketball IQ. And that doesn't come overnight. He's aiming very high right now, but I think at the same time, he's very realistic as to how to get there.
I think that's what is so intriguing about the talent that he's brought in. And also it raises the level of expectations immediately for this level basketball team. And that's, college athletics is changing at a rapid pace. And we looked at this week with the Supreme Court ruling. You know, what does that mean moving forward when they pretty much said unlimited educational benefits should be there for student athletes? But then we also have the name, image, and likeness, which New Mexico is one of 6 states at the moment which passed that legislation. Like, that's going to be a go in July. And Rich Pitino touched on that a little bit, saying, yeah, they are talking about that already. They're going to try to be ahead of the curve as long as they can until the NCAA makes the final ruling on that. So there's so much change that is coming for collegiate athletics. But the one thing right now is, you know, all right, this is your team for this year. And we used to talk about long-term growth, development, and you can't think like that right now. And I know that's a challenge for a lot of fans, but in the moment, it's just really, what can you do with this specific roster? I'm really intrigued, especially with the backcourt. You've talked about Jalen House, the things that have stood out to you about him, the Arizona State transfer, and the returners, and the chip that is going to be on the shoulder of the players that went through last year, dealt with a coaching change. So I'm looking at Jeremiah Francis, Devontae Johnson, Saquon Singleton. I think they could have a big impact this year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that's going to be interesting to see who of the returners really steps up because, yes, Jalen House is going to be a very vocal leader. But at the same time, I feel like that returner group should have also a guy who, you know, doesn't just sit back. Like, it has to be a team with people feeding off of each other's energy. Because last year, it was tough, and the team was unmotivated after a while. Like, they were just, after losing so much, not being at home, you kind of lose that energy. And Richard Pitino, if he has one job, it should be keeping that energy up no matter what. Because once you lose that, your season's done.
You can coach effort and energy. You absolutely can. Now, there's different philosophies for coaches and their programs, but I do agree with that point, especially at the collegiate level. You got to push them. You got to find a way to keep those guys working because it is the challenge of, you know, dealing with the one and done transfer rule, the one-time free transfer. So many things involved. I think that's a fantastic point to wrap it up. Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause, Isabel Gonzalez. OD debut and knocked it out of the park. Thank you so much for waking up. It was awesome hanging out with you this morning.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
And guess what? We're going to call you again. And to do this at some point in time, it never gets easier waking up, but you'll find a way to deal with it. Bobcat, great to have you back on your minor league rehab assignment. Wonderful as always. Aaron on the ProView side. Shouts out to Sebastian Noel as well for joining us this morning. Got Jim Rome coming up next. Colin Cowherd at 1. Sports Bar Carlisle Trio at 4. Jeff Siembieda back tomorrow. Everybody, Meta World, peace and love. Have a great day.
Drive, Jeff Siembieda.